What is up, guys? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. Breaking news. I don't think it's breaking, but prosecutorial misconduct exposed through Dylan Mortensen's grand jury testimony. We're going to go over that again. We're also going to go over a suppression hearing that was cited in the Xana Gardner case. And I want to show you guys this case only because I said it before, and I'll say it again. Why aren't certain people being called in suppression hearings? If you want something suppressed, you have to call the person that, in my opinion, did the work so that you can expose the living fuck out of them, embarrass them. Yes, embarrass their work, expose their lies. Okay, you don't beat around the bush when someone's life is on the line. I don't believe you beat around the bush for any reason. You bring the bush. You eat the bush. You make somebody else eat the bush. We're going to talk about FOIA requests. We're going to talk about the fact that we have our deposit in and we are getting the federal grant material from Moscow Police Department. We are going to talk about the autopsies. We're going to break it down like we were 16 years old. That's the way that I want to go about it. I want to go about it like we're learning something like in high school. I think it just resonates better with everybody. So, again, good morning and welcome to Truth and Transparency. Let's get started. Oh, Sarah's in chat. Good. Sarah, thank you so much. Sarah's been working hard with me to create. Look what we got here. So what we're creating here is this is in 2022 in order. We took every motion, right? The date, anything that was filed. Who did it? Okay, did the defense file it? Did the court file it? Did the prosecutor, who did it? It's a who done it. Then we go to 2023. Again, we're doing everything in order. And then what we're going to make here is a link section where you can click on it and boom, it'll pop up the actual document, the new document. And this way, we're going to be able to go in order to just show exactly how this case flowed. For example, if you take a look right here, January 23rd, literally, not even a month of Ann Taylor having the case, she's on her 4th supplemental request for discovery. And we're going to talk about that. But this is everything in order from the docket. Okay, this is Brian Colbert's docket in order. And I want to remind us here when Bill Thompson on February 8th had to put in an affidavit. We're going to go over that right here. Affidavit of Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. This is when all the BS was going on about we have a leak. Y'all have a leak. Okay? That's right. Excuse me and my allergies. My allergies are off the hook this morning. Don't know why. I was eating too much bush. All those chemicals. All right. Anyways, we have, like I said, all the years broken down, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 in order. Okay. Now, why this matters is because if we're going to understand this case, you have to actually go in order. Right now, all the documents are being released backwards. Okay. So it's nice to, yes, get the documents, look at them, but it literally it jumbles everything up because you have to know the order on how this case flowed to truly understand the depths of what the fuck went on here. And we're going to expose that. We're going to expose the living shit out of it. That's what we're here to do. We have a lot of questions and we're not stopping until we get those answers. I got my FOIA request back from May 3rd. I got it back yesterday, June 3rd. So a month later, they got it back to me. I'm going to remind everybody what I was going for in that request. Let me actually just print this shit. Oh, God. Can people explain to me what is the hype behind Nidos? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Not Nilos, but these kids are going crazy for these like fidget stress material balls, whatever. I can't even call them balls anymore because they're not balls. What the heck's going on here? this gets shut off. No one's got time for this morning. I might just have to read it to you. Oh, what the fuck? You sound like Clarendon. I just took so much stuff though. I take it every day so this doesn't happen. And it just went. Sorry. So I'm going to be in and out of sneezing. Hey, woo. Okay. All right. The first thing I want to show, though, after I just described all of this new data and how we're organizing it, I want to show you guys this puppy right here. I think it's this. It's Exhibit B, right? Yes, here it is. Okay, take a look. This is from a 2021 case, all right, out of Florida. The court saying, all right, the court calls this case number United States versus Kevin McCall. Okay. I wanted to get us all together to let you know my decision. I had hoped to have a written order for you after you had supplemented your briefing with regard to the cases that I cited. In the interim, I had several emergency matters, one of which has consumed a lot of my time. So I apologize for not getting the written order out. Since we had a calendar call set for today, I wanted to get us together. This is the judge. And I know the parties have agreed to a continuance of this matter, but I wanted to get my decision to you sooner rather than later so that you could discuss the outcome with your respective clients. Let me start by saying I obviously have serious concerns about the warrant. I am not sure I have answers to the questions that I posed or that were posed during the hearing, why there were no time parameters in the warrant, why there was no particularity regarding what was to be searched, other than the subscriber information and the somewhat throwaway reference to cars, guns, and clothes. What had been done other than that phrase, which we will talk about in a moment, what had been done to adapt what was clearly a template warrant to this case. I mean, this judge who is this is amazing. This is everything that we've been saying in so many cases, all right, where this judge is calling it out in the first 2 pages. Just like, I have some serious problems with this warrant. And we're going to get into what he says about this warrant, but it's really important to understand that if you want to compare cases, when we want to talk about, like, are these judges losing their minds? Like, what's going on? This is when you compare a case and you say, okay, let's take, in this, like, because we're going down memory lane again of what the hell Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings were truly orchestrating and conducting. And as Cyree said it, he's never seen anything like this in 30 years, right? They're literally just marshaling in and out. It's prosecutorial misconduct every which way. One day it's this way that they want to go with it. Now, once the judge rules on something, then it's like that never happened. And now we can just go this way with that. It's like it doesn't matter what somebody testified previously to. We can just go ahead and do whatever we want after we get our way. Okay. So this is a case that was cited in the Xana Gardner case that was used for suppression. So right here, a template warrant. Exactly. Y'all motherfuckers are just taking templates and it's all just being recycled. Okay. It's a bunch of bullshit. And why there was no apparent protocol for what search was to be conducted after the information from the provider was downloaded and decrypted as it were. Mr. whatever his name, we're going to call him Kemp, said it was not his responsibility to put parameters on the search. And Detective Rosen said that he did not give any direction to Mr. Kemp, who I think he regarded as something of an expert. Now, they clearly called these people to the stand during the suppression hearing. And so here we are. Ann Taylor wants stuff suppressed. People want things suppressed. Why aren't we calling the people that did the work? right? Get them on the record saying stuff. Everybody is so scared of what someone's going to say as far as a defense attorney goes. And just, does that argument need to be does somebody need to rewrite a book here? Because you can't be scared of what someone's going to say if you're defending your client to the best of your ability. The truth matters, right? The truth matters. So how can you be afraid of the truth? Well, that's not in the best interest of my client. Well, then I think you have how is the truth not in the best interest of your client? That means your client is lying and that they're guilty. So here in the Brian Kohlberger case, at the suppression hearing, who testified? What questions were asked? You want a Frank's hearing? Here's your probable cause. Why aren't you pointing it out and having Payne pointed out that, isn't it true that you made it seem like to this judge who signed this warrant that you found Brian Kohlberger by and through on November 29th through WSU? What's he going to say? If he says no, then you would say, why'd you put it in there? What is that for? Why were you weren't making it trying to seem like that you found out Brian Kohlberger on November 29th through the WSU, queries? That's exactly what it was for. And then you say, isn't it true that you didn't find Brian Kohlberger that way? Because you had no idea that it existed on November 29th. And so that didn't set you on a path to then start investigating Brian Kohlberger on November 29th. And how it's presented here, you're misleading the magistrate judge to sign a warrant that she believes that you started investigating Brian Kohlberger on November 29th, because that's when the queries were brought to you. That question was never asked of Payne. When you would take away the argument that HIPAA tries to say, which is, it doesn't matter when something comes and when it doesn't matter the order of when you're receiving information. That's insanity. That's insanity. Yes, it does, because if you didn't have something, then you couldn't get, if you're putting together a desk, if you don't have the directions of 2 through 8 steps, how are you putting this desk together? It absolutely matters the order, because it matters that that's how you develop probable cause to continue on, and that why you're leading and going towards somebody, right? And I'm over here of the opinion of, why aren't we talking about the fact that you guys got to Brian Kohlberger through IGG, and why wouldn't it be in the probable cause? If IGG is so amazing, why can't you say that that's how we got this tip? That's what we used. IGG, we used that, right? Because they knew. Because they knew once it got out that they violated the policy, and that's in the probable cause. But it's like, well, they lied anyways. I mean, because they didn't get to him any other way besides that. They didn't even say that they got a tip. I just don't even believe that they used IGG. Anyways, let's go back over here. And this is the judge in a different case saying, and how any of these deficiencies are remedied by the addition of the phrase, your affiant knows from training and experience that criminal activity is often planned prior to the act. Look at this guy. Exactly. This is what we heard over and over. What is this? What is this heel? I will say that Detective Rosen candidly said he did not think Mr. McCall was the shooter or one of the shooters. So he did not really see that. That was something that would have been premeditated. But it did seem that some of Detective Rosen's testimony about how he viewed Mr. McCall was inconsistent with the idea of pre-planning. And that is what I expressed to the parties at the end of our last proceeding as the issues that I had during the hearing. The defendant relies, I would say, almost exclusively, but predominantly on the case of United States versus Wynn. And we all have that citation about the gentleman who was photographing young girls at a pool and was investigated for either public indecency or disorderly conduct. That was one of the problems that was identified by the court in that case in suppressing the warrant. And there were several facts, and that the case that the judge identified as problematic. The dates were incorrect. The month and date was not accurately set out in the warrant. The warrant did not accurately cite the offense that was being investigated. It also said disorderly conduct instead of public indecency. And there was an issue regarding the course of the investigation. Right there. Apparently, the complaint came in and the warrant was not sought for days. People went and talked to some of the young women. There was a day of training. So clearly the judge had some issues with the way that the facts were handled and said specifically that the warrant was sought to rummage through every conceivable bit of data for a misdemeanor crime. Here, the facts are different. The complaint and the warrant here both establish probable cause to believe that Mr. McCall's cell may have some evidence of the crime that evening, which was attempted murder. Granted, there was no information that clarified the description of the data, with the exception of the phrase about clothes, cars, and guns. There was the phrase about the affiant knowing from training that criminal activity is often planned prior to the act. And that echoes the United States versus Sosa case that we talked about, where the investigator relied on his general experience. In that case, the Instagram information was referenced by another witness, a cooperator. Here, we don't have that. Exactly. In the Xana Gardner case, they don't have that. Nobody's talking about that. The information from the complainant or from the complaint and throughout the warrant is all the same. It is all correct insofar as we know from the witness's account of what happened. But unlike the judge in Wynn, who was looking at this misdemeanor offense that was clearly confined to the one date in question, here we have a complaint with regard to attempted murder. And as the government pointed out, the fact that we even assume that Mr. McCall just reached out to these folks that night presupposed some trust and relationship prior to the event. And while we don't have the same circumstances that led to the Wynn court deciding that evidence needed to be suppressed, we do have serious issues here. First, there is no time specified in this warrant, and there is really no particularity other than the subscriber information. And it is not made clear how that would assist the government in finding the unknown assailant of the night in question. I guess their position is they could discern a pattern. But even where there is particularity given with the car, gun, clothes, there is no description of a car. As to the clothes, I guess that would be a mask. And I don't know what that really does. And the guns, while they were referenced in the complaint as the witnesses thinking they were AK-47s or a semi-automatic pistol, the government acknowledged there were shell casings. So they could have at least discussed the caliber of the gun. Once the information was received from the iCloud provider, there was no restriction on how the information was going to be sorted or reviewed. So in that respect, I find the warrant is deficient. Woo-wee. for reasons, frankly, that I don't quite understand. Because, as I said, I think there was enough information that the state and Detective Rosen could have fashioned a warrant that might have passed mustard. So then the question becomes, does the good faith exception save it? When Mr. Kemp received the information from Detective Rosen on the 28th, see how they're using dates, you guys? This is not what we saw in anything. Like, if Ann Taylor would have laid out, when did you receive this information? What information was it? You have to get all of this out. And Ann, you knew that they just made this all up. So why wouldn't you call these people to the stand and completely destroy them? Literally destroy them. Blaker didn't write a report until after the arrest of Brian Kohlberger. So therefore, nobody could glean anything from his work because there was no report. You had no idea what this man was doing. Yeah, I did. Oh, how? Well, because we had debriefing sessions. So you sat there for how many hours while all of these people talked about their day? And then in order for you to remember that, Detective Payne, were you recording these debriefing sessions? Did you write up notes about the debriefing sessions at the end of the day on what people said to you? Did you put them in reports? And since you have a bad memory, you would be one to want to do that, right? Seeing as you said, I don't know, 142 times, right? So here the judge gets it. He's like, what the heck are they doing? Like, they know better. He understands that because he's like, he says it right here. He's like, for reasons, frankly, that I don't quite understand, because as I said, I think there was enough information that the state and Detective Rosen could have fashioned a warrant that might have passed mustard. So then the question becomes, does the good faith exception save it? And this is what everybody's relying on with these freaking affiants doing affidavits like crack. Like, they're just bad. They're horrible. But hey, the good exception right here is going to save it. When Mr. Kemp received the information from Detective Rosen on the 28th, and then he decrypted and processed the information on the 29th, at that time, he knew. Oh God, I love this judge. He knew. Like, he knew. They knew. This is what Ann Taylor did not do. God, fucking pisses me off. That they only had information from January forward. I think that fact, along with the fact that the guns are described in the complaint, and the fact that I don't agree with your assessment, Mr. Wilcox, that the warrant had to have been time-bound to the day before, the day of. So I think that there is enough to argue that Mr. McCall knew the persons that were coming in that evening. He could have directed them. He could have even provided them with the weapons or some other direction, and therefore emails or information previous to that night were, I think, relevant. So because the temporal limitations, I believe, in some respects resolved itself with the download, it was only 3 months, and there is some division amongst the courts about whether or not the failure to specify a date range is fatal with regard to particularity. And I would cite to email accounts, he's talking about a case here. And note that even those where there was no temporal limitations, if there was a violation of specific statute, sometimes that would save a warrant. But the fact that there is a discussion as to what temporal limitations has to be put on, what the medium is it Facebook? Is it other social media? Is it his email account? Is it his iPhone? See, this is where in the Xana Gardner case, see how it talks about all of this? And then that's where Judge Kite's just talking about like Facebook. This says way more than that. I would cite the parties to the case I had mentioned, where the court acknowledged there is no consensus about limitations. And of course, the 11th Circuit case cited by the government, U.S. versus Blake. I think the good exception would redeem the warrant. The fact that it was signed at initial warrant and the second warrant, even though they had all the exact same information except for the phrase, they were signed by two different judges. I don't believe that there was any deliberate intention by Detective Rosen to mislead anyone. He consulted with Mr. Kemp. He did acknowledge this was his first warrant. I think he endeavored to get the right information, even though I think the warrant was ultimately deficient. But I believe that the good faith exception applies. I would also cite to U.S. that I think the Wynn case, the particular facts of the Wynn case, Mr. Wilcox, makes it very unique and very unlikely as precedent for a matter such as this. I think there are those in other cases that have not relied on Wynn. I think there is an argument to be made if they were investigating this gentleman and investigating him for more than just one day or one day event. It is pretty likely that those photos might have gotten them beyond that one day. I think in that case, the delay between the seizure and the search, the fact that it was just with regard to that one day event, there was no publication-based offense as stalking. Here, there's an attempted murder charge. And the state, I think, if they had put more time and effort into the warrant, could have discussed the need to investigate any relationship Mr. Call had with others or any patterns that may have emerged from the phone. Also, whether or not he could have provided the guns, even if he did not use the guns himself, did he have access to those type of guns, shit like that, you know? And any inquiry into the origin of the weapons would be appropriate. So I think even a plain view analysis in the good faith context, if they had actually used the appropriate language, and let me discuss that phrase that I have mentioned previously, and that is your affiant knows from training and experience that criminal activity is often planned prior to the act. And the Sosa case caught my eye because it had the discussion of generalized professional experience, which I suppose is akin to that phrase. As I said, I don't think it was advanced by Detective Rosen as an intentional deception, but I think it is such a broad, far-reaching expression of hope that it is a meaningless phrase in terms of criminal investigation. And it is. And it fucking is. And I hope, Mr. Jones, you share with your colleagues, as well as Detective Rose, he might say Rosen, and Mr. Kemp and BSO, that such a phrase never be used in a search warrant again as a way to redeem an otherwise overbroad and temporally infirm warrant. Oh my God. Anyways, I just wanted you guys to see this up close and personal. This is a judge saying, don't you ever use this language again as a way to make everything better. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Unbelievable. But anyways, this is a 2021 case. So it was just a year before, the murders happened. After listening to the witnesses and seeing them, look at this, and seeing them. This is why you need to call people to the stand in suppression hearings. In reviewing the cases, I am making a determination that good faith salvages the search here, but it won't in the future. Boom. And the reason it saved, literally, the reason it saved it for this dude, no joke, is because that was his first search warrant he ever wrote. This is his first search warrant he ever wrote. While this may have been Detective Rosen's first search warrant for a cell, like how this is why they had Detective Payne do this. Do you understand this? Everyone's probably like, why is Lana talking about this? They had Detective Payne do this for a reason, you guys. And I finally had the aha moment when I was reviewing stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, these fucking bastards. Detective Payne led this. Detective Payne's name's all over this so that they could claim this right here. They are taking people, okay, and putting them, quote unquote, in charge, just like they did in the Xana Gardner case, putting them in. Why would any person be in charge of investigation that isn't even a detective? Or that this is their first case, they're going to take on a quadruple homicide? But they did it so that they could argue this shit. They're getting in front of knowing that we're about to lie our titties off. But this is what's going to save us. The fact that when Payne was asked on the stand, have you ever wrote an Apple warrant before? No. You got to be shitting me. Have you ever sought to get a warrant? Have you ever had to deal with? This is why Lana's talking about it. Lana goes to the roots of the problems. I don't want to fluff. No, we're gonna. This right here, this is nuts to me. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome to Truth and Transparency. This is a 2021 case, and this judge is just nailing all points and says, hey, guess what? This shit, I'm making a determination that good faith salvages the search here, but it won't in the future. Meaning, if you come to me and you ever come in my courtroom again and you try to put some rookie on a case to bypass all this bullshit, it ain't gonna work. And I would have appealed this. But salvages a warrant here, but it won't in the future. While this may have been Detective Rosen's first search warrant for a cell, it won't be his last. This is why Payne is no longer an officer. He and the BSO need to pay closer attention to issuing warrants than just spitting out templates or tweaking them with a phrase akin to this. I understand Rule 41 and the case law, with the exception of Facebook, acknowledges when you go to the provider cannot limit the time or subject, but the law enforcement agency can and must. I cannot believe that Judge Kite is doing what she's doing in the Xana Gardner case. I would be appealing that. But the law enforcement agency can and must, based on the offense and the events. There's a way that the law enforcement agency can do it. And if they could do it back in 2021, they knew that they could do it back in 2022 and 2023. And according to Mr. Kemp, he did not have any role in distinguishing what was relevant and what was not. And Detective Rosen did not give him any instruction. That's the other thing that they're all relying on, is they're saying we have no idea what's going to be relevant and what's not. It's like, what? Well, the judge says, so somebody best develop some sort of protocol here. Here you go. This is where Cy comes into play. Lana, you just always bring it full circle, don't you? If you guys ordered your Cy books, this is where Cy brings it full circle. Because right here, this case law, if you use this, right here, it's the McCall case. So somebody best develop some sort of protocol here, because if they continue merely to rely on this template form, the state attorney's office, then good faith won't be an option after our having had this discussion and reviewing what was necessary in the way we have today. Boom. Do you see how it says the state's attorney's office? They knew. In the Xana Gardner case, they knew. Guess who else knew? The state's attorney's office in fucking Idaho. Okay? All these people can get royally fucked. They are all liars. They know. They go to all these stupid little fucking, conventions and conferences, and they're constantly, paying attention because that's their job. This judge put everybody on fucking notice back in 2021. And what do they come and they do? They come and get on their knees, okay, and blow Hitler and say, bail us out. And Ann Taylor doesn't do herself any favors by not calling. You need to call everybody. You need to call everybody and ask, how long were these debriefing meetings? 10 hours? They just brought what was pertinent. How'd you know if something was pertinent? What were you determining as pertinent? And keep asking him. He's going to say, I don't know. I don't know what was pertinent. Why don't you bring up the crime scene and that was cleaned up? Were you looking for more than one person? Why isn't Ann Taylor going about it like that? She saw that fucking crime scene day one when she got the case. As soon as we got all those photos, we saw it. Were you looking for two people? Were you looking for 3, 4? How are you able to know what people are saying and doing and who's assigning them to go? And why are you interviewing this person? Why are you interviewing that person? Why didn't you download, if you didn't get a full file extraction on Bethany and Dylan's phones day one on the 13th, you met with them, Blaker, on what, the 16th and the 17th, right? Mm-hmm. And you didn't ask for either one of them to download and and do a full file extraction since you didn't have, then you guys didn't use Celebrate, like nobody instructed you to do that. Isn't part of the job to vet the information that you're getting? Whatever. Ann Taylor just didn't do herself any favors. You have to ham these people. You have to go at these people. You have to have confidence. So I trust Mr. Jones. You will share my thoughts. Mr. Jones says, I will, Your Honor, the court. So I am denying Mr. McCall's motion to suppress, but only in part. I am granting it in some respects. I am only going to allow 2 photos to be admitted. You're getting your photos. That's it. The rest out. And the first one, the very first photograph of the government's Exhibit 7, it shows the Ruger on someone's lap. Presumably it is Mr. McCall's because of the tattoos. I am also going to allow the 4th photograph in the government's Exhibit 6, which is the picture of Mr. McCall in a photo with a gun, which I can't really tell. I assume it is the Ruger, but though I am not allowing any photos of money because it was not discussed in a warrant. And secondly, it would have been before the robbery. So I am not allowing anything having to do with drugs. I have been giving nothing other than the photos of the gun. So those 2 can come in, but that will be all. I think that can remedy any deficiencies that Mr. McCall has identified in his briefing. Mr. Wilcox, I know this is not what you wanted, but after reviewing everything I was presented in this particular case, I believe it is the right conclusion. All right. Is there anything else you would like to say or point out for the record? There is one thing I wanted to point out, Your Honor. Of course. That was as to its temporal nature, because it was not just the temporal part that I felt was wrong with the warrant. I also felt that the type of data, I thought there was a problem with them searching for photos at all. I can understand they're searching for communications, but I believe that they should have limited it strictly to communications. I just do not see why they would be allowed to seize the photographs. Again, they are investigating a murder. While there are 3 eyewitnesses, they say the gentleman that came upon them, they were in masks. So pictures of Mr. McCall's associates might have been of some benefit in terms of height, weight, something for the investigators to go back to these witnesses about. And for reasons that I would never understand, there could have been a picture of someone with a ski mask. Who knows? Mr. McCall had pictures with a gun. So now we get into this. Where are all the fucking pictures, and how would they not be relevant in the phones of Bethany and Dylan? You guys, they're posting pictures all the time with knives and masks. And the bushy eyebrows. If you want to give exculpatory information out, the exculpatory information to Brian Colbert would be that Dylan Mortensen was obsessed with facial features. Obsessed. And that she had that all over her room. Again, and for reasons that I would never understand, there could have been a picture of someone with a ski mask. Who knows? Mr. McCall had pictures with a gun, which is not probably a good idea or best practice, but there you go. Like, Mr. McCall, you fucking idiot. All right? I do not think in an attempted murder investigation that investigators are going to confine themselves to just data. As the investigator in Sosa said, on Instagram, people do tend to memorialize their lives in all its aspects. And in an investigation like this, that can be something that could reveal a crime. As I said during the last hearing, this is clearly an evolving area of the law, more than what we have discussed in our hearing in this context. But for this case and for this event, I think my conclusion is correct. Mr. Wilcox says, will Your Honor be following this up with a written order so that I could look at some of those cases that you referenced? Because here's what I would like to do. I would like to be able to appeal this issue to the 11th Circuit without having to go through a trial. And it has been my experience the government won't, and perhaps this will be the exception. Normally, the government won't allow a defendant to enter a conditional plea. At least that has been my experience. I don't believe I have ever been able to get the government to agree to a conditional plea. Like, basically, we're going to appeal this. Because then he knows, he's like, if these photos get to come in, my client's screwed. Now, thank you, Lana, for sharing how other courts said, this is not going to fly in the future. You just writing this bullshit. And so we found out now, Lana, thank you for sharing why Detective Payne was the lead on this case. And so let's be clear. They labeled him the lead on this case the second day, or like within 24 hours, right? And that means within 24 hours, they knew that they had a huge problem on their hands. And we need every possible way out. We need every possible bump to go our way. And so we put Detective Payne, labeled him the lead so that we could skate on everything. They didn't draw no straws. This was 1000% why they did it. It's right here. The case is clear. They needed a rookie. And they did the same thing in the Xana Gardner case. And so here you go. Motion to suppress held 4/20/2021. United States District Court, Southern District of Florida. It's the Miami Division. United States versus Kevin McCall. So there you go. It would not fly in the future. You're bullshit. Okay. Now, let's go talk about
okay. I know, at least on the TV shows that I've seen, a lot of times
they're all, man, those are all accurate, right?
Yeah, just like the those are on.
Well, so I'm glad we got you here that we can.
Criminal Minds. On Criminal Minds, we have.
We know that Bethany was in bed at 2:30, 2:45. The girls were upstairs.
Okay, right there. So I went ahead and I listed these out. And I said, when he wants to say, we know that Bethany was in bed at 2:30, 2:35, right there. How do we know that?
Their phone, making phone calls right up until 2:53 when they stopped making calls. So whatever happened, whatever's recorded on there, to me, has no bearing on this.
Okay. I know, at least on the TV shows that I've seen, a murder was done or stabbing was done by someone who's experienced in it or someone who's, kind of fumbling around for the first time in something like this.
I couldn't answer that question.
Kaylee and Maddie were the main targets, and potentially Xana and Ethan, either together as a couple or independent, might have been two separate attacks. Can you speak to any of that or of what the evidence supported?
Okay, well, I see the question. I'm not sure what you mean by separate attacks, but it would be my belief that had Xana and Ethan been in bed, asleep, I think it's very unlikely that they would have been killed.
Why?
That, in other words, had Xana not been in the kitchen, the killers would have.
Not only not in the kitchen, but she'd been asleep. Had she been where she would not become aware of what was going on, we're seeing, yes, if they'd been in bed asleep.
Okay, so then I have a question, and it would come right after that. But the reason I call BS on that is because Dylan makes herself a part of it. So why is she still alive? See? And then I bet you his comment would be like, no comment. And that tells me it's because they believe that Dylan either A, knew the people or was involved. Very simple. That's their theory. I'm not, that's their theory of it. Because that's the only acceptable answer.
Very unlikely they would have been killed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, collateral damage is a hard way to phrase it, but that's the reality of it. Is I think they just, God, it sounds so stupid. Wrong place, wrong time.
Okay. And so then I would ask him, okay, so are you aware that Xana and Ethan, these are college kids, they have cell phones, and they aren't using them at all? So let's talk about, why did Maddie call Xana at 2:53? Maddie calls Bethany, not answered. Before that, Maddie calls Xana. At 2:52, Maddie calls Xana, no answer. That was right after the scream. So, ready? Scream at 2:51. Then Maddie called at 2:50. Maddie calls Jack D. Maddie calls Jack D. 2:51. Maddie calls Jack D. Then Maddie calls Xana. No answer. Maddie calls Bethany. Not answered. And so if you listen to if you want to go off of the 1112 cameras, there is an atrocious scream. And if Xana's up, why didn't she answer the phone? If Xana is Bethany, nobody answers the phone. And then immediately, so we actually have Maddie calling Xana was the last of the phone calls of even between like Kaylee when she was calling Jack D.
She was in the kitchen. They're asleep. They're still sleeping.
Now, here's a question I have, because it sounds like Xana's attack started out. She would have screamed, and I think you say that we hear her scream.
Now,
right?
now the evidence that we have, they talk about that there was blood. He says that there's blood in the kitchen. That's Xana's. That's not true. That's nowhere. Like, Xana's blood is not in the kitchen. We understand that. He believes that Xana's blood is in the kitchen. That's not true. Where is that? Where is he getting that information from?
After the pong table, but it seems to me, given how Ethan's murder happened, that he was probably unaware until he was actually stabbed. He was, in bed, but Xana put up a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean was Ethan just completely out of it and slept through the fight?
Well, here's a good question, because the DoorDash delivery, you've seen the bag in the kitchen, correct? I think one of you said you saw it. It's a large bag. That delivery was not for one person.
Oh, God. No. Yeah. Whoa. What do you mean it wasn't for one person? There was 3 items. I mean, it was a large bag. This is the evidence that they're going off of. There's no reason to guess on that. You would need to compare the order. You would need to compare the Jack in the Box order that night to what the Jack in the Box order is. And I've already talked to what I would send them stuff. I'm like, the only way that you could ever talk about that order's night is to compare it to the other orders nights and see what was ordered. Like, this is unbelievable to me. There was...
So when you think about that, well, was Ethan eating? So maybe Ethan may have literally just been asleep for 10 minutes. Well, the bag didn't arrive till 3:59.
The bag, he's saying the bag arrived at 3:59. That's when the button was pushed on a cell phone belonging to Molly McMichael. Okay. What does the receipt say? We know that it was ordered at 2:15. We know that Molly was in Pullman. And then she's coming. And then we have an interview where the guy's like, yeah. And even Molly said it herself in her interview. Molly had to go back and get stuff remade. And she made it seem like it was for not that order, though. But that doesn't make any sense if you got your click at 402 or 403 at Winco for your next order that's at a dorm in Pullman. Well, guess what? That's not possible, Molly, because they stopped taking orders on DoorDash after 4. In fact, they stopped taking them at 2:45. So what now? Let's fucking fight. Okay. Show me that she has an order past 4. Okay. Also show me. That's when Molly says that, oh, when she showed back up there, the guys thought that she wasn't coming. Just this whole big fucking elaborate lie. And just nobody followed up with anything. They just accepted what everybody said as just like, okay, this is the evidence. And it's like, this is what the state's going off of. I don't care what the state's going off of. There's no proof of this. If the state doesn't want to vet something, why don't you figure out why they don't want to vet something? Did you guys do any background on who the fuck Molly McMichael is? And how she just poof winds up whenever there's a fucking tragedy or a killing? Poof, Molly's there.
Take that back. The DoorDash doesn't arrive till 3:59, and he's getting murdered at 4:17. So he probably didn't eat. I think there's probably a food order for him, and he didn't eat it.
What do you mean you think? I don't understand this. This is wild to me. This is absolutely wild. I don't know how you can make any of these comments. I think this is why Ann Taylor is just so fucking pissed, as I would be. I'm like, what are these fools doing? This isn't what Turvey was brought in for. Turvey was brought in for the crime scene. Turkey was brought in for the sheath, right? And there would be no guessing to any of this shit. There's no guessing here. How about Ethan's phone? When does phone last move? When did he last use his phone? When did it connect to the Wi-Fi? Digital fucking evidence. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it is a very large bag that would have been more than what Xana would have had.
Dude, what are you talking about? There's 3 items in there. Okay, 3 items. Okay, and wouldn't you just be able to use the autopsy reports to find out if Ethan had anything to eat?
In your experience,
And I think that Kristen and Sam and Ron are kind of just like, what? Because they just, I mean, I get it. They're not going to argue. I'm not going to see. I have no problem pushing back. I would say, okay, you're saying a lot of words that are, there's no definitives here. So you guys didn't have the phone records. You guys weren't going off of digital evidence. There's no reason to guess. How are we guessing in 2025 over any of this?
did you see anything with respect to that DoorDash order that might have made it a fake order? I mean, there's some people that think that there's been a problem with that DoorDash order, including myself, from the very, very, very beginning. I know you said that you guys saw.
I don't believe it's a fake DoorDash order. I believe that it was dropped off, like I said, and it was handed to that Molly walks over there at 251. Okay. And that good old Mal's balls here. That's where the scream is. We have Molly in a different vehicle. Molly says that she goes up there 3 different times, but goes into the whites. That's where the undercovers are. Yeah, that's where Fitzgerald says that everybody walks people out. They're all just congregating in the whites parking lot. Who would ever congregate around fucking plainclothes officers? Well, the same type of people that take pictures with them that are in uniform. And Claire loves to take pictures with the Moscow Police Department. You guys know that? Okay, go take a look. I posted it on my social media YouTube channel. Go to my post section, and here is Claire in a picture with two officers. It's a little blurry, but you can totally make it out, and you can totally see the year. And yeah, Claire, Dylan's best friend, Claire.
A picture on the porch, but we never, the public, we've never seen anything other than it just sitting on the kitchen counter, kind of where the microwave is, I believe. But there's a lot of question marks with respect to that DoorDash order.
Okay, so she makes the order. Xana makes the order at somewhere around 2:15, 2:20, I believe, and we don't know where they are when she makes that order.
Boom. We don't know where they are when she makes that order. Finally. Oh my God, I can get around that. 2:15, we don't know where they are. Well, so we don't know where Ethan or Xana are at 2:15 But now think about this. What are the odds, Mr. Chris? What are the odds that Xana makes this order right after Dylan attempts to text Eric Gower to ask if he's still driving because they want him to get food for them at 2:10. He gets back in touch with them and writes back at 2:13. But at that point, Xana's already on the app. You know what I mean? Xana's on the app picking out the order. You know what I mean? And that would be for Bethany wanted the motherfucking food. Bethany was hungry as shit. She had texted and Snapchatted people right there at 1:56 in the morning. It's saying, get me mac and cheese. Okay. And guess what comes in that delivery? What comes in that delivery? You guys were the ones what came back? Those were like, what are those, mac and cheese tacos or some shit like that? You guys that are all the Jack in the Box peeps. I was like, here, what is this stuff? It looks like it was fries. Looks like it was, but why are we having to guess? What does the receipt say? So you don't think that Xana's at home? And the only reason you don't think Xana's at home is because Kaylee, right? Kaylee and Maddie are deceased. Ethan and Xana are deceased. And so the two people that are not deceased, they're just saying that they weren't there, but hang tight. The way that it's being portrayed that they're not there is Dylan is saying she never saw them. Bethany says Xana was wearing all black. Okay. And yet this all happens and they all want food and Xana's making the order at 2:15. Don't you think that that order was actually placed at home with her roommates?
At 3:54, she's at home and she texts, "Can you find us?" And then at 3:59, it's there because there is a photograph of the bag sitting on the floor or against the lower level door. And then that photo was sent to the person that did the order, sent to Xana. All right. So we know that. So what is it that your photo was sent to the person that, and then at 3:59, it's there because there is a photograph of the bag sitting on the floor or against the lower level door. And then that photo was sent to the person that did the order, sent to Xana. All right. So we know that. So what is it that you have a concern about that?
Okay. 2:15, the order's placed, and you think that an order comes from DoorDash at 3:59?
Well, including that Molly was also involved in it. Was there any evidence that questioned her credibility with respect to that order?
No, not that I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
I want to briefly run through just
Are you aware that she had to go back and get an order because she forgot it? So do you have a copy of all the orders that Xana did that day? I'm not Xana, that Molly did that day?
a couple of these super chats. Thank you very much for them. Hoffy Master.
But the first question she would have asked is, what do you mean you don't know where Xana is at 2:15? That's the question right there.
And she texts, "Can you find us?"
It just sitting on the kitchen. In your experience,
And she says, and she texts. So how do you know that it was Xana that texted at 3:54? Can you find us?
That delivery was not for one person.
How do you know?
So when you think about that, well, was Ethan eating? So maybe Ethan may have literally just been asleep for 10 minutes. Well, the bag didn't arrive till 3:59. Take that back. The DoorDash didn't arrive till 3:59.
And it was placed at 2:15. No order takes an hour and 45 minutes to get there.
And he's getting murdered at 4:17. So he probably didn't eat.
Why do you think he's getting murdered at 4:17? When's the last outgoing command on his phone? How come nobody, why do we have so many, who's the last people to see Ethan and Xana? What about their phones? Where are their phones?
I think there's probably a food order for him and he didn't eat it.
Wait, what?
So he probably didn't eat. I think there's probably a food order for him and he didn't eat it.
All the food is gone. What do you mean he probably didn't eat it? What the fuck are they talking about? Not them, because it's not. Let me make sure we're perfectly clear here. Ron and the girls, Sam and Kristen, they did great. Okay, they got him on their show to ask these questions. Okay, and hold on one second. Okay. When I hear things like, I'm the peer reviewer, I peer reviewed Dr. Turvey's work. Well, I don't know what you use to peer review. You have to use the material that's in the case file. Okay. So there is just no, like, what material did you use to peer review Dr. Turvey's work? It's that simple. And so when you're making these statements that Ethan just didn't eat, what? How do you know that? Why do you think that? What evidence is telling you that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I think, and he's getting murdered at 417. So he
What evidence is telling you that he was murdered at 417?
probably didn't eat. I think there's probably a food order for him and he didn't eat it.
Why do you think that? Where is this food that's just chilling?
Yeah. Because it is a very large bag that would have been more than what Xana would have had.
Fuck the bag size. What is the order? Oh my God. But let's go back to the whole 215 thing and saying that you don't know where they're at.
In your experience, did you see anything with respect to that DoorDash order that might have made it a fake order? I mean, there's some people that think that there's been a problem with that DoorDash order, including myself, from the very, very, very beginning. I know you said that you guys saw a picture on the porch, but we never, the public, we've never seen anything other than it just sitting on the kitchen counter, kind of where the microwave is, I believe. But there's a lot of question marks with respect to that DoorDash order.
Okay. So she makes the order. Xana makes the order at somewhere around 2:15, 2:20, I believe.
Okay. And then what time was it picked up from Jack in the Box? Is there any surveillance from Jack in the Box? The FBI and the police went there to get the surveillance from Jack in the Box on numerous occasions. We have an interview with two guys that were working there. Okay. And so what time did Molly pick up the DoorDash order for Xana? Question number 1. Are you getting that from the surveillance cameras at Jack in the Box? Question number 2. Question number 3. Did Molly have to go back to Jack in the Box to have an order remade because she supposedly left it there? And then the guys thought that she wasn't coming back. So do you see this in any interviews? Do you see Molly inside versus in the drive-thru just to pick up the order? What does the surveillance camera show? And what is the ticket? What are the items ordered?
And we don't know where they are when she makes that order.
Why? Why do you not know where Xana and Ethan are at 2:15? And are you basing that off of Dylan and Bethany saying that Xana and Ethan weren't there? So right here is the first time we don't know where they're at 2:15. So if you don't know where they're at 2:15, does that mean the state doesn't know where they're at 2:15? What evidence? And then you would ask, well, when do they come home? What evidence shows you of what time they get home? Like you have to break this down. And when you don't have these answers, how can you peer review a goddamn thing? I don't understand how I can just peer review somebody's work and I don't have fucking the material. I just don't it's impossible. I cannot peer review your work if I don't have the material. I can suck you off and say, yep, I don't know how this could be done without, by just one person. I get it. And the only thing that I would need to say that with is that the gloves. The motherfucking gloves. If the killer has gloves on, those gloves are bloody. They have Xana's blood, Ethan's blood on it, right? Maddie's, Kaylee's, right? The first person that gets killed, you're going to have transfer then from me killing the first person to me killing the second, third, fourth. There is no blood of Maddie and Kaylee in Xana's room. None. How is that possible? There's only one way that is possible. There was a big old time gap between the people that got killed upstairs and the people that got killed downstairs. Just like there's no blood from the people that killed downstairs in the upstairs bedroom, okay? And so this person had to have, if it was one person, had to have multiple sets of gloves, multiple shirts, multiple pants, multiple masks. And I'm not telling my fucking forensic team to stop swabbing until we can find blood in Xana and Ethan's room of Kaylee and Maddie's. Their blood, we better go keep on going ahead and swabbing away. You're sitting here and telling me we don't have their blood is not in this room? How the fuck is that possible? It's not. It's not. Not in this time period. And so just stop with this 417 bullshit that Ethan's getting killed at 417. I don't have proof of life on Ethan for way before that. Way before that. People are calling Ethan off the hook. Nobody can get in touch with Ethan. I have nothing on his phone. The last command on his phone was him telling Hunter Johnson, yep. Yep, I'm still at Sigma Chi. Yep. And who knows if, you know, if that was even him saying yep. Peer review.
At 3:54, she's at home, and she.
How do you know she's at home at 3:54? The question is you say that you don't know where she's at 2:15. How come? How do you not know that? Don't they have a Wi-Fi system at their house? What time does Xana's phone connect to the Wi-Fi, goddammit? Xana shut off her Wi-Fi capabilities? Because I would like to know that. What time did she shut off her Wi-Fi capabilities? Who possibly did that? Does Xana's phone ever do that? How about Ethan?
Text, can you find us? And then at 3:59, it's there because there is.
How do you know that Xana made that text? Are you having trouble finding us? How do we know that that's not actually a message that's sent from DoorDash to the person that actually dropped it off? You ready for this one? You're going to be like, holy shit, you're right. How do we know that that didn't alert Molly to say, oh my God, when I handed it off to that person at 2:51, or when I even put it there, I didn't press send. I didn't hit, you know how many times people will do that? They'll take the picture and then they don't hit the send button. And then Molly didn't realize that she didn't do that until she wanted to, you know, go get another DoorDash order. And she's like, oh shit, I didn't press send, and presses it. Right. But then people are like, well, there's a car that's there though, that's speeding away, you know, at the time that she's pressing it. Well, then that's when we're going to start getting into, yeah, like that type of stuff. Is that, you know, to extend somebody's life? You know, when when they want to stage something, they do it in a way just like Jennifer Drake is, you know, extending the life of Brian Drake. I'm talking to him on the phone. I was on the phone with him, blah, blah. Yeah, that all sounded good until Lana came along and was able to prove that Eldora Gatchel and her brother were still there. Yeah. And so it wouldn't have been just Brian. That could have been the person that made the phone call, the outgoing call, because I put them still there. And I found another car that they were traveling in. So let's just be real. Let's just be fucking real. All right. So if you want to extend somebody's life, you would do exactly this DoorDash shit, right? And Molly, well, that's interesting. Molly, there's never anything that happens bad in Moscow. And Molly just happens to be there every time somebody gets fucking shot up on the block. Okay. Molly's husband, boyfriend at the time, back in the day, he was killed. Molly was there. Now, this quadruple homicide happens. These amazing kids, they're killed. Molly's there. And how does Molly think that she's there at the time of the crime? In her interview, she's like, my luck would be that I would be there when this was happening. Her quote. That didn't make Officer Payne, and I call him officer because he is, Officer Payne, go, wait, what? Like, why does Molly think that she's there when this is happening? Nobody knows when this happened, but Molly knows. Yeah. Because the way that they interrogated her with the FBI, right? That wasn't Molly's first interview. How about that question? Did you listen to Molly's interview? Nobody would listen to Molly's interview and watch it and say, oh my God, nothing to fucking see here. Okay, so Chris, did you watch Molly's interview? You watched it? Unredacted, no blurs? I call bullshit. And if you did, then then I'm thankful that you're retired. There's just no way that you watch this shit.
There's a photograph. of the bag sitting on the floor or against the lower level door. And then that photo was sent to the person that did the order, sent to Xana. All right.
And you've seen that because we can't seem to get that in a FOIA request. Not a FOIA request. Moscow Police Department doesn't have that. How is that possible?
So we know that. So what is it that you have a concern about that?
Well, including that Molly was also involved in it. Was there any evidence that questioned her credibility with respect?
I love how Kristen just said that. Well, just because Molly's involved in it, and he should be saying, what do you mean Molly's involved in it? Like, is there an issue with Molly? You know, that's what she's saying. Well, because Molly's involved in it. But the question there is, and Kristen will tell you, the question is there to say, well, did you watch Molly's interview? And you just thought there was nothing to see here?
To that order?
No, not that I'm aware.
Mhm.
I want to brief Master. Thank you. For finally, Rich Day says the awesome. If that's true, we'll have to check that out for sure. And behaviorally, can you talk about why one might injure victims post-mortem and what those injuries might mean? Is it not common, correct?
It's not common. It is what we would refer to as a signature. It's something that the offender felt compelled to do to satisfy some need for the offender.
Mhm.
That's why they do it. There's been different ones.
Yeah, well, everybody talked about Kaylee's smile. She had the best smile.
The Boston Strangler tied bows. He strangled them and then he tied bows. Why? Well, he was compelled to do it for some reason. Okay. So in this case, same thing, that the offender or offenders felt had a compulsion to do that to satisfy some need of themselves. In this case, in some fashion, disfigure them, destroy. Again, is that an attraction point for the women and the shoulder? I'm destroying that. I don't know, but it's something they're compelled to do.
Is there anything that would suggest that one of the people that committed this crime was the person that did both of those injuries, or is there no way to distinguish that?
There's no way to know that.
This is a good question right here. With all of the evidence he has seen, you, Chris, what can you say about the true perps as a behavioral analyst?
Well, just the things I ran through before. The one thing, obviously, one of them had long dark hair, which is in Ethan's hand. Knowledge of the victims, knowledge of where they were, knowledge of the house, comfort level being in the house for a considerable.
Well, Hayden, the kid at the grub truck, he has long dark hair. So there's that. I mean, I don't know.
Period of time after the murders occurred. For a considerable period of time after the murders occurred. Access to the weapons, knowledge of where to get the cleaning supplies. Those are solid things that we can tell about the offenders, right? And if you start applying those, you can start whittling down your pool of suspects to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that doesn't sound sexy the way it does on CSI or something, or Criminal Minds.
He said Criminal Minds. Dylan loves Criminal Minds. She goes to bed to Criminal Minds every night. And then she just started using Vampire Diaries.
Strange predictions about things. So these are very solid. These are absolute things I can tell you about the killers.
Mhm. Can we talk about Koberger's car?
There we go. I was just going to go there. I was just going to say.
That was apart and nothing. But what can you tell from what was either found or not found in that car?
Well, number one, of course, the fact that there was nothing found in that car, and they took it apart looking for some trace evidence of the crime. All right. So understanding what happened inside that house, the idea that the possibility that there was no trace evidence found in the car is almost unbelievable. But what I wonder about is they say there was nothing found. There's nothing of evidentiary value in terms of the state's case. But the car had wrappers, had receipts, and things of that type in it, debris, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Debris.
And so what I would want to know, if you had receipts in there, how old were those receipts? I would like to know if there was a receipt in there that predated the murders, because that would certainly show the car.
How do you not know that? Right there. Right there. They took up pictures of all of that stuff, right? If there's receipts in there, and so were those pictures taken? If you want to know those things, that's what you should be saying to when you're peer reviewing. Like, where's the receipts on this? What was in the car? Where are all these pictures of everything? Okay, what's the date on that receipt? Remember how they like took the pictures of the parking tickets? Okay, like I'd be asking him about this. Like, can you believe that Brian Colbert just kept on getting parking tickets in a vehicle that's, you know, circling the crime scene? Like, does he even know about that?
Was never cleaned, but we don't have access. I don't know that there's a record.
Basically, he's saying who cleaned that car and then all this shit's in it.
Of any of those specific items like that. But that's something I would want to know.
I don't know how he doesn't know.
Okay. There was
Wait, that doesn't make any sense that there would be an iPad receipt from 2015. I'm gonna tell you why that doesn't make any sense. You guys, he got this car way after 2015. This car, so how could there be a 2015 receipt in there? I mean, was Ann Taylor gonna bring that up? Would Brian go in his house and find a 2015 iPad receipt and put it in his car? Did he return the 2015 iPad? Was he attempting to return it?
I know that the FBI was involved in some manner with the DNA testing and all. Did you see anything that was unusual or not exactly according to procedure in the interaction between the FBI and the law enforcement?
No, but again, it involved DNA, and again, this is science is outside of my realm. But we asked me about this the other day. Detective Payne, I believe, I'm not sure, that the FBI told him,
Officer Payne,
and that the DNA was of lead value. And that's significant to me because when you say something has lead value, that means it has no evidentiary value. Okay. A lead is something you follow to take you to evidence.
correct. Great way to say that, Chris. That was a fabulous way. It's very, very important. Yes. Evidentiary value versus lead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not evidence in and of itself. So I thought that was, to me, that was very significant. That's how the FBI classified the DNA.
I want to talk about the sheath a little bit. And there's a couple of things.
My reading of Dr. Turvey's report and conversation with him. So that's not original on my part.
Okay,
Patterns on the bed that it was on top of that were not transferred to the sheath.
Okay, so when I make that comment, I'm judging that based upon my reading of Dr. Turvey's report and conversation with him. So that's not original on my part. This is from a scientific standpoint. There was no transfer from that sheet onto that sheath.
What? Then this is not a peer review. What is going on here? Oh my God, let me stretch. Oh, what? Little John, what? Wait. I'm going to fall over. What? This is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. What the fuck did he just say there? This is not me saying this is based on Dr. Turvey's report, but you're supposed to peer review his report. So you would ask him where he's getting that from. You would look at the photos, right? I mean, I don't know.
That comment, I'm judging that based upon my reading of Dr. Turvey's report and conversation with him. So that's not original on my part. This is from a scientific standpoint. There was no transfer from that sheet onto that sheath.
Okay. Can we talk about the chain of custody for that? Because I know that was a big deal in the book, and we talked about it with Dr. Turvey a bit. That may be more with, especially with your background.
Did Ann Taylor know that you were peer reviewing?
I want to get your take on that chain of custody, because I know there's been a lot of people who have suggested that there's nothing wrong with that chain of custody. What do you say to that?
Oh, yes, there is.
Oh, yes, there is. And I want to hear about this.
The chain of custody, and I know this has been explained by everyone you've talked to about this case probably, but the chain of custody is to show the provenance of that item, where it originated from, everyone who's been in possession of it, where it's been stored, who's taken it out of storage, etc. So that we can show that that item that was seized is exactly the same item that's now being introduced into court. So I know that in this case, they talk about the barcode. Well, the barcode is one thing. The chain of custody is that written document that each person who possesses that item signs and dates, showing that they're the one that had possession of the item.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else can't do that for you. They can't sign it for you. They can't put your name on it, etc. And I know in this particular case, we have the chain of custody for the knife sheath, which bears a number of names which appear to have been written by the same hand.
It was written by the same hand. And so the question then here is when people have come out from law enforcement and saying that that's an old practice, that we have this barcode and that's how we scan everything in. But well, my answer to that is that's absolutely laughable. That your barcode does all of that. Because how does your barcode do that? Just explain that process.
That's a problem. You go into court, or let's back up and say in this case, had this been going to go to trial.
Hello, guys. We just watched this in the Karen Reed case. Okay, like I had issues why people are being able to testify to shit that they didn't do. Right? Like what the fuck? But in the Karen Reed case, which that happened in 2022, January, and then this happens in 2022, November, and this is all just a bunch of bullshit. Like, fuck your log, fuck your little scan bullshit log. Yeah, you would definitely be signing stuff. Like everybody knows this. You may have your log to classify it and put it in storage where where it's located to go find the fucking thing. Okay, but if I'm handling something, yeah, I'm putting my name on. It's just like when you would go inside a house and you're going to break the seal, you have to reseal it up. You're putting in then a new date, your little initial and blah, blah, blah. There's definitely problems if it was all written by the same fucking person. But if it was written in terms of, if this was an FBI, thing, which I don't know why the sheath went to the FBI, but did it go to Quantico to be tested? I don't know. But if this is an FBI, something that's written by the FBI to document for their sake of where it's been prior to them having it, if somebody then just takes it on from the FBI to write what all of that shit says, just as another piece of document that the FBI did, if they took it in to test it, like I said, then that's something different. And so maybe they're confused about that. But I would think him being in the FBI would know that. And that's the question that I would be asking is, well, who's the person that's writing all the names? Is it an FBI personnel? Because are they just documenting something for themselves? Just so that can get all cleared up. Because that's what people in the world that we talk to, that there could be a potential that Turvey's getting that confused if there was, somebody that's just writing down for their personal sake just to see, who had it all. And here, this is the FBI just documenting when they get it, how it looks. I don't know. The defense could have argued before the judge
absent the jury, obviously, before the judge, that the item should be disqualified because of that chain of custody. And then the judge could say, yes, I agree with you, it can't come in. Or the judge could say, no, I'm going to allow it. And then you can argue to the jury as to why they should disqualify it. It's absolutely, if I ever pulled a stunt like that, I don't know, I probably would have gotten 60 days on the bricks. You can't do that. And on top of that, now somebody's falsifying documents. You're putting somebody else's name on there, their signature. You're falsifying a document.
Have you ever seen another case where something similar was done on the chain of custody?
No,
If it's the feds, though, again, I just want it to be talked about. That sheath is that where it comes into play here is when it's being, I believe, taken to the lab for the second time, like the December 5th stuff.
not.
So when there's other attorneys out in this YouTube universe just simply saying that broken chain of custody is just not that big of a deal and they minimize
Great question, Kristen.
the issue, that's completely crazy, right?
I would totally disagree with them. If they're confident with that, have at it. But that's not.
And then this is me over here. It's like, let's walk somebody through this. Where is this? Can we have the piece of paper? Can we say, okay, here, I want to walk everybody through this. So here's this. You see how this date is here? Do here this person's name's here? Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. And then all of a sudden they start on this date. Now this person's handwriting just consumes all of these, possessions. And so it's like, you guys have the material, like, let's show it. Let's show it so that it's just here. Come debate me, Speaking of which, I want to debate Scott Reich, by the way. So Scott Reich, go ahead, somebody clip this. Hey, Scott Reich, I saw that you did an open panel, and I'm not debating you on the guilt or innocence of Brian Kohlberger, but I will definitely debate anybody in this case about everything to do with this case. Everything. But I'm not here to debate anybody on innocence or guilt. I wasn't there on 11/22. I wasn't at that house. I wasn't there on that night. Yes, Brian Kohlberger pleaded guilty, but to sit here and act like people don't do that every other day when they don't commit a crime, then you're a fool for a defense attorney, because they do. People do say that they did something when they didn't. Like, we wouldn't have the fucking Innocence Project. Okay. So, but I will talk to anybody about this case, any case that I cover for the matter, and debate. I called it a conversation. Like, let's truly talk about it. You want to talk about, was this case handled properly? You think that probable cause isn't all lies? I mean, the whole case is played out.
Somebody I wouldn't want to be associated with. No, the chain of it has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for it. And if you don't have it, you cannot show the chain of custody. You can't just blow it off and say, oh, we didn't feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the most important piece of evidence in this case. It's what's secured a plea deal in the first place, right? It's what's putting Brian Kohlberger at the scene of the crime, right?
It's an essential piece of that evidence, is showing where it came from and who's going to testify as to that. And that doesn't come from a barcode.
Mm-hmm.
A barcode shows where it came in and where it logged in and what bin it's in.
There you go.
Okay. It does not tell you who had possession of that item.
Bingo. 1,000. I agree. Everything he just said there. In fact, I just said it 10 minutes ago. It's going to tell you where it's located in some fucking locker. Okay.
Do you see the chain of custody issue as merely a mistake, someone trying to cover up, cover themselves, oops, we didn't do the chain of custody correct? Because as I understand it, it went to a lab. The lab said there's no chain of custody. We can't deal with this, and went back, came back with it. Or is there any indication that it's something more nefarious? I mean, is it?
That's on a different piece of evidence, I thought.
Is it possible that you
Or is it getting sent back?
can still trust what was found on that sheath?
Well, that whether or not you can trust it, again, that's up to the jury, right, to make that decision, or the state to argue it, the defense to argue it. when I look at that, I'm going to argue on the side of being benevolent and saying, I don't think there was some attempt to cover something up or anything like that. Oh, they need to change the cut here. Let me fill this out. That's all I think that transpired with it. Okay. I think an innocent mistake. I don't know if I'd go there, but I don't think somebody was trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes with it.
Really?
Now that we talked, did any of those?
No, I did not.
On the sheet, did you see any reports directly tying the DNA found on that sheath to Brian Kober?
No, I did not. It does not mean it didn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not.
Labs or labs 52 blue haze. So if it's possible that Xana and Ethan unfortunately are sort of byproducts of being in the wrong place, wrong time, is there anything significant about the other two individuals, potentially one of them seeing the perpetrator and not being part of the victim pile? Or I don't know how to better say that.
I mean, why was it that Dylan Mortensen wasn't attacked?
And Bethany.
Yeah, is there anything significant that you found from that?
It's a good question. If I have just murdered two other people because they're potential witnesses, it's illogical that I would not have killed Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I would say.
Exactly. And that's the no-brainer for me. That's the no-brainer part. Dylan's saying that she's opening and closing her door, okay, and just screaming out, okay, in this house that Dylan says that you can hear everything. And then this killer, okay, that's why it's all lies. And then this killer is just like, oh, you know what? I'm tired. I might come back at 9:15 in the morning and handle you, but I'm tired right now.
Now, when we go to where Ethan was unalived in Xana's room, what did you take from the fact that his lower extremities were clearly covered up by a blanket or something? Was there anything that told you about the perpetrators from that behavior?
Well, it goes to the idea that I don't say buyer's remorse, that killers have remorse sometimes about what they've done. Mm-hmm. And in this case, it could be an acknowledgement by the killer that they're sad. I'm sorry this happened to you. And we're pulling this blanket up and covering you. Okay. With the two girls upstairs, Madison and Kaylee, they also were covered with the comforter was pulled up and tucked around them. Again, it could be the same thing. Now there could be remorse about what I've done, and now I'm covering it up, which is literally what you're doing when you put the blanket over them. I think it could be an indication again that they know the relationship, that I've done this, now you two are together, I'm tucking you in, kind of almost a mocking aspect to it. But with Ethan's, I think simply whoever did this, they now have some remorse about it, and they're covering him up.
As part of, I don't know how much you were involved in the strategy of the defense, other than maybe
not at all.
Turvey was.
Strategy. See right there. No, not at all. Like he never talked to Ann Taylor. I don't even know if Ann Taylor knows that Brent Turvey told him about anything so that he could peer review anything. I mean, that's exactly what the NDA is like. I mean, I understand that your work's supposed to be peer reviewed, right? But normally that's all like cleared with the attorney.
But did you ever have any discussion with Dr. Turvey maybe about what physical evidence there was? You know, we've got the hair and so forth, but was there any other physical evidence?
I'm going to say it. In order to peer review and move outside of like what he was like the little scope, Chris Holland would have had to talk to Tom Slavinsky, Cy Ray, Josiah Roloff, like those people. Okay. The reason he doesn't know when Ethan got home, Xana got home, how do you not know what was on the order? But everything to do with like the whereabouts and when people are moving, like this timeline. There was a timeline that Tom Slavinsky put together that was going to be an exhibit. Josiah Roloff. I mean, were these people's phones used for steps? Were these people's phones used for health data? And they exist because I got denied my request for Dylan's health data. And I'm going to win my appeal, don't worry. But because it's not Dylan's health data. This is not privacy. It's the iPhone's health data, motherfuckers. How about that? Okay? There's no privacy on that because a phone does not equate to a person. So they denied me under completely bullshit. Okay? The phone's steps are the phone's steps. The phone's, flights of stairs is the phone's flights of stairs. It does not invade in Dylan's privacy of her, like the way that it would sound is the Apple health data. Like it's some fucking health aid and it's going to tell me about Dylan's life. Okay. No. Whoever had the phone at that time, it's the phone's data. All right. And so, but the way that it was denied for me, it was that it was an invasion of privacy. I said, whose privacy are we invading by getting the phone's steps, the phone's flight of travel, the phone's meters? How? And it's just laughable, but they tried. They tried to deny it for an unwarranted invasion of privacy on Dylan and Bethany, and it's just not. So, but it's not. Their phones and the movement of their phones, because it can't correlate to a person. That's what every expert can tell you every single day. That a phone does not tell you the location of a person. Just like a phone can't tell you, it's tracing the phone's movements, not a person. So yeah.
Evidence that seems to have never been tested or really looked into that should have been, that maybe Dr. Turvey was planning to criticize the prosecution for?
No, I don't want to speak for Dr. Turvey. What comes to my mind though is understand that they had cleaning materials that were there, that the house had obviously been cleaned, but I think there's a mop. I'm trying to remember that the little items were never taken to be tested. That comes to mind. I think
why didn't Ann Taylor have them tested? She was having other stuff tested. Matt Nodal, did you converse with him?
Of course, the house was destroyed. When you have witnesses telling you could hear everything in the house, mm-hmm. I would like for someone to have gone back there and measured that in some fashion. What can we hear? Noise levels, decibel levels, or whatever. I think that would have been very important to establish.
Okay.
What about the 1112, the camera, what you can hear? How is that just not all hearsay? Who wouldn't argue to keep the camera at 1112 out as far as the audio is concerned? Right? Like, I don't think anybody should be testifying to what they think it's what they think they're hearing. I mean, that's crazy to me. Nobody should be able to testify to that. If that isn't speculation, I don't know what the fuck is. That is objection that calls for speculation, and that needs to be sustained. So also, since we don't know where this is coming from, is it prejudicial? Is it prejudicial for anybody to hear that camera in a courtroom, the audio, or if you're going to play the audio, then you have to play the audio for the entirety of all the clips, which a big one would be at 2:51 a.m.
about that bathroom down in I think the first floor. It supposedly, it looks like there was some evidence that it had been cleaned, or there was nothing in it that you would expect in a bathroom that is being used by a bunch of women in a house.
Yeah, I don't know if we could say it had been cleaned. I mean, you've characterized it. There it is. It's a bathroom.
Yeah.
It looks like it's not getting used or used very much.
Mhm.
That's all I really say about it.
What? All you can say is that it's not getting used very much. Isn't that because there's nobody asked him about it? Dylan says that the second floor bathroom was her and Xana's. Her and Xana's bathroom. So where's Bethany's bathroom? Kaylee and Maddie's, theirs was upstairs. Where's Bethany's bathroom? If you're known to throw parties, where do you want people using? What bathroom do you want them to use? I would say the first one, the first floor. That's where y'all can go pee. Okay. That's where you can go take a shit. Okay. I mean, this is just crazy. All right. And then if you look into Bethany's bedroom, though, she has like her curling iron and everything in there. She's getting ready in her room. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they said that everything from the bathroom was stripped other than a shower curtain.
It could be. I really wouldn't comment about that.
We're talking about a goddamn cleanup and you're not commenting on the bathroom. Where did this cleanup occur? Where are the towels? Okay, how did they clean up? Just because you have a fucking mop in a bucket, where was the cleaning up? Where are you taking this mop and bucket and if you fill it up with water and I'm gonna mop the floor, okay? I mean, Dylan basically says, "Oh my God, if you can't find any DNA or whatever, it's because we just cleaned." And then Victoria Gooch says, "When did you clean?" For Parents' Weekend, the weekend before. Okay, don't worry. There's DNA left. Okay, good. Whew. I just don't know how you're talking about a cleanup and you're not commenting on the first floor bathroom. How about we talk about the fact that nothing on the first floor was processed? You guys know that? Like nothing on the first floor was processed. We're talking about that entry that just got stomped all over and then it just became a staging area for the fucking, CSI people. It's just mind-blowing shit. I mean, the crime scene has been completely contaminated.
Now the cleaning supplies, were they itemized in the reports by law enforcement? I mean, do we know exactly what?
I recall. I think
No.
they basically just were disregarded.
Yeah, there was nothing was taken like that. Like if we go and look at the kitchen, you know how some people will keep cleaning products underneath their kitchen sink? So open up your kitchen sink and you don't do this if you have young children, right? But a lot of people, when you have older kids, right? Tons of stuff is underneath the kitchen sink. Then you have like that closet that was where the diagonal staircase was. What was in that closet? Where are the pictures to show, like, when he's talking about these cleaning products, he's the one that mentions this, who knew where the cleaning products were to clean? And I'm thinking, where are the pictures of there being cleaning products? I mean, I think they're you guys, if I would have been on this panel, this panel would have been off the rails because I'd be saying everything that these three are thinking. Like, huh? You're the one over here talking about the most important things, and you list that somebody knew where the cleaning supplies were. Well, where were they? How do you know they were used? He wants the cleaning supplies tested, like basically like the hands, like the outside of it. Like, should we be swabbing those? Is there going to be any blood on that? I don't see any pictures. Send me pictures of it. Send me pictures of the cleaning supplies. I would want to know, you see all these blue photographs with all this shit thrown all over it, right? What do you make of the fact that the police in the beginning with the lab people are saying we're disregarding any of the footprints because we're chalking them up as the police? Then to see in a report, aka the probable cause, is like another report that we just showed yesterday. Now all of a sudden, no, we're going to use that one footprint in front of Dylan's bedroom, and where it's located is the most important part about it, is because Dylan says that she peeked out. She peeked out her door the last time, and that's how she saw him. I'm sorry, but she peeks out. Well, then, that means the way that the door opens, how could you get a foot, either the killer or her? There's no way to get your foot to have an impression unless that door is all the way open to be able to step where the footprint is. And so I'm just over here just like, there's so many arguments to make, and everybody beats around the bush and nobody makes any arguments. They're all just these conclusory bullshit. And it's like, no, you have to be specific. So let's get specific. Like, let's get specific. It is like humanly possible to open up a door and to have a footprint here or here if the door is closed and it was only ever open a peek. How could that have got there? The door would have to be open all the way. You understand? In a suppression hearing, why aren't we calling Dylan Mortensen to the stand? In a suppression hearing, why aren't we calling Bethany to the stand? Don't you think that they are vital if you want something suppressed, that they supposedly said X, Y, and Z, and then it's being used completely an opposite way? Lana, that's just so wrong. What do you mean? What's so wrong? They're going to have to testify eventually. Let's start ripping off the Band-Aid.
Did you feel a certain way with respect to Taylor agreeing for the house to be torn down?
Do I think it was a good idea? No, I don't. It's the crime scene of a very horrific crime. And so no.
Mm-hmm. What's the advantage? The question is what's the advantage? What do you see as the pros and cons? How about that? Because both sides agree to it, right? And according to Turvey, he's like, well, yeah, if you do that, then nothing can more come from it or whatever. And I'm just like, but isn't it more valuable for jurors to potentially just stand in that house, be in Dylan's room, and let people scream in there?
Any other case that you've had? Have you ever seen the crime scene be torn down before trial?
No, I've never had anything that would ever come close to doing something like that. But
also, they don't really like in the Karen Reed case, it's not like, I mean, the jurors only went to that house to see the yard, to see how small the yard was. Okay. In the Alec Murdaugh case, they went to, his, whatever, what was it called? Moselle, right? They went out there so they could see the layout and how far everything was. And so here, would it hurt the case or help the case? You mean you would have had to stage it to be exactly the way that it was then? Not so much like the blood or anything like that. I'm talking like you have to put furniture in there. You can't have a house that's going to sound like an echo. So I don't know.
It seems very odd to me, especially if it gets done before the defense has a chance to go in and do what they need to do in there for their case. And you know, I'd even go so far as to say in this case, you could probably make the argument it should never have been turned down, because if it had gone to trial, you would have wanted to be able to bring the jury over there and see it. I would have wanted to bring the jury over there at 4:00 on a November morning, recreating what the conditions were for them to see that.
I know you've worked and known Dr. Turvey for
He wants we're gonna get a November date up in here. They would have had that go in November, and I want you guys to go at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. because it's like so quiet. Like it's like quiet as a like. Do you want to know how loud that would have been? And then let them hear Linda Lane, and let them hear 1112. And you tell me when you think people are getting murdered, because they ain't getting murdered between 4:05 and 4:20. That's just not when people are getting murdered. Sorry. What it seems like to me is somebody's going in there to see, holy shit, what the fuck? Okay, that's what I think.
some time and essentially your role was to try to prove him wrong. It sounds like you're very confident. Is it fair to say that your opinion on there being more than one perpetrator is like overly confident, or as confident as you can? Is there any range of that?
No, I'm absolutely, again, the things that we talked about, show me where I'm wrong, or use some logic to that. Everything I'm telling you is based upon, here's what we know are the facts. Mm-hmm. And from those facts, we can draw some conclusions. And that's all I've done. Everything tells you there was more than one person involved with this.
Why would Ethan have Xana's blood under his fingernails?
I know that around that time there was some ongoing FBI action going on regarding it was a big drug bust that actually happened and came to conclusion in March following this. And there's been a lot of talk among this community about whether there were confidential informants of the FBI or somebody else, law enforcement in some way. Did you see any indication that anybody involved in this, either victims or otherwise, were somehow involved in that way with law enforcement?
My comment would be that when people are throwing this kind of a rumor around, mm-hmm. I would say, show me some proof. Okay. You know, these theories are cheap.
The plainclothes officers had a federal grant, and they were there that night, and they were running a freaking operation that relies heavily on CIs helping them. Like, that's who they talk to. Hey, did you go talk to so-and-so? What'd they say? You know, it seems like it was an excuse for, Dylan didn't leave with their friends. Hey, I'm going to go take a nap, but knowing that I have to get this psychology paper done, I'm going to, oh, wait, I don't want to leave with my friends. And then it's all just like a lie almost. It's like, now I see why she couldn't go over, though, at the same time, because she needed to use Maddie's wristband. Okay, but that just doesn't seem, I don't think it has anything to do with drinking now. I think it has to do with that you can only have 2 people per person. That's in the reports. That the Sigma Chi party only allowed you to have, each person could only invite 2 people. Okay. And so Maddie went there to get, she was invited. She got on the invite list. Maddie gets the invite. Then Maddie then gives Dylan her bracelet. Okay. That's why they met up and where that exchange happened and why Dylan was calling Maddie. And I think that's why Dylan had to stay back, because she had to like, here, will you come with me? You get this bracelet and then give it to Dylan. And I think that if you truly think of, I also know that there's there was a list. I think I asked for that. I wanted the Sigma Chi list, like who was invited into this party, and did they do it based off of like the Sigma Chi's listed who they were having as their +2 guests each person. But think about Dylan getting booted from that party. I will have friends. I will have friends. I will be popular. I will be liked over and over and over in her diary. That's just mind blowing.
To your question, no.
Okay.
It is exactly what it looks like. Okay.
What do you mean it is exactly what it looks like? It's not exactly what it looks like. Wait, what? Oh my God, I can't believe you just said it like that. It is exactly what it looks like. What? Which is what? It's staged.
You had a murder of 4 people. One of the killers knew quite a bit about the 2 victims, Madison and Kaylee. That's what it was.
One of the killers knew a ton about those 2. And the other 2 were just collateral damage. And so what that would say is that, listen, I call bullshit, because there was no time to change then in between the Xana's collateral damage. Okay. Unless you're saying that the person changed upstairs, got all, changed, came down and, like, what they want to say is ran into Xana in the kitchen. That just didn't happen. There's no evidence of that. Show me Xana walking around with her phone at that time. There's no blood of Xana's in the kitchen. That's not accurate. Sorry. That's just not accurate. We have the material. There's no blood in the kitchen of Xana's. And then if Xana would have, intruded more or less, or like saw the killer because they happen to cross paths, right? Well, that's interesting, because then Xana would have the blood of who? I don't know, Kaylee and Maddie all over her. So, yeah. So you're saying that this could not have happened where Kaylee and Maddie saw something that they were not supposed to see? You don't think that Kaylee and Maddie, who are both frantically calling what it seems like Jack D, right? After Jack called them, or at least called and had a conversation, but he doesn't remember any of that because he basically like passes out on the phone, more or less. And people have done that before. Like, a lot of people will do that in college. Like, you're talking and then like the person's, falling asleep on you. And then you're trying to call them back, But why is Madison, if she's laying in bed because she's going to go to sleep, at 2:52 decides to call Maddie and then Bethany back to back? Why? But she never calls Dylan. And then neither of those phones, like, what, surf the internet, do nothing. Like, she doesn't call her boyfriend to say goodnight. Maddie doesn't. They didn't look on social media like Instagram or, Snapchat, nothing. Get the fuck out of here. Both of those phones don't stop at the same goddamn time. If they're not being forced to, if they're not being taken on. And what happens right before 2:53? The loudest scream that we hear of any time is at 2:51. And so you don't think that somebody could have walked into the bedroom of Xana Kernodle, saw what the fuck they saw, and screamed? How about that? Like, I know that would make me scream. How about that? How do we know that Xana made the order and that Xana was alive and that she actually made the order at 2:15 versus somebody having her phone and placing the order? Again, extending the life of Xana. Who keeps extending the life of Xana and seeing Xana and Ethan places? Who? Bethany and Dylan. Because you go to the Sigma Chi people and you get their interviews, and then you go to the AFEs and you get their interviews, and they're like, well, we weren't with Xana. Nobody was with Xana that night. Nobody was with Ethan that night. It's like after the Hunga Dunga Brewery, you know. Hatred, jealousy, alcohol, drugs amplified, or envy set it off. Dylan was going crazy. That video was on my channel. I posted 2 years ago and slowed it down. I don't know what video we're talking about right there. Kaylee was taking pictures of her teeth at the corner club. Well, Kaylee's always smiling. Everybody knows that Kaylee has like a really beautiful smile, right? Remember Ethan's smile? Heather says, I don't agree with Ethan and Xana being collateral unless Dylan is a killer and attacked Xana thinking she was Kaylee and then had to take Ethan out too. Well, then let's ask ourselves this question, which is, what would be the one reason that somebody would start going off on somebody? If I thought that you were telling the police about us potentially doing drugs or me selling drugs, and I thought that you were like, or I found out that you were talking to the police, and we had, I don't know, video of that, or like, here, look at this fucking girl. Look at here. She just gets into their car. She's talking to them. This girl is ratting. I think that it's interesting to me. It's interesting that why is this whole thing about the dog being lost to me is the dog's lost. Right. Huh. There's no evidence of the dog being lost. None. In fact, the dog's in the house. Right? And according to Hitler, the dog just, that's the other thing that just doesn't make sense.
Did you review any of the victimology interviews?
Yes.
There were a lot of those.
Yes.
Not really.
Well, you get as much information as you can, and that's it. So I can't answer to how well those were or were not done. You know,
How can you not answer to how well or well not they were done? What kind of information was gleaned from it? Yes, you can. Be critical of it. If you're going to fucking, God, what do you mean you can't speak to it? Is that how you would have conducted it? What did you gain from having those conversations?
that it's the product of what they were able to get.
Mm-hmm.
But you want as much information as you can possibly pull together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ron, I put up a question for Chris,
For Chris?
if you can read it.
Yes.
Is there-
Why would
Okay,
Ethan,
yeah, Chris, so this is a question.
why would Ethan have Xana's blood?
Well, first off, I'm not aware that her blood was under his fingernails.
What? Okay, I'm fucking done. What the hell is going on here? He's not aware of this? What do you mean you're not aware of this? You guys, what? What is going on here?
So if that's correct, that's something I'm not aware of. But in reality, wouldn't that be surprising? She's bleeding. She's run into that room. We don't know what.
She's bleeding and she's running into that room. That's not true. There's no evidence of that. So he has the wrong report. He has Sutton's report.
All she moved around inside that room. It's a very small room, so it's not unlikely that blood would have gotten somewhere on that bed that he may have gotten it. But I'm not aware of that.
Can we maybe address one rumor that goes around, were any body parts cut off from any of the victims?
What?
No.
Okay.
Now, knowing what you know with respect to the way Xana was laying, you know, after
People that are continuing to talk about that, you are fucking dumb. Dumb. Okay? Absolutely dumb. Unbelievable.
the attack and all of the tons and tons of knife wounds and slices that she had on her body, do you think it would be reasonable for anyone to look at her and consider that there was an unconscious person?
Not if you were up close, because you could not help but see the blood. And so the question would become, how far away are you standing? You're looking down a hallway, and the door is open at the end of the hallway, and she's laying there, feet toward the door. Okay, so that's what you're seeing. And now you're in subdued lighting. So
What do you mean you're in subdued lighting? Every fucking light in the house was on. Who's saying there's subdued lighting? I mean, just blows. Why are we making up scenarios? I don't understand what's going on here. I truly do not understand this. Every fucking light on, every light was on in that house. All the twinkle lights were on. Like, that's what Dylan even said.
again, it would depend how close are you when you're looking.
Oh, you just thought that she was passed out. Okay. We get it. Okay. But she has to be pretty close to know that she only had thong on and that she had, and now in Dylan's words, she had like a sweatshirt on. Right. So how close would you have to be that you knew that she had a thong on, only a thong on and a sweatshirt on, unless she's just out and about in the house, right? Unless you actually saw her that night and she was home and that she'd have no problem just prancing around. And that's what Dylan said. Oh, Xana would walk around with a thong, like her underwear and just a, you know, an oversized sweatshirt all the time. Right. I just can't believe that an ounce of belief is going into the fact when somebody like Dylan is saying that Ethan and Xana just weren't home. Yeah. When I got home, nobody was there. What? How do you know that? Did you go check every room? And I would say this, I would think that you would know hands down every single day of the week. On the side, like, okay, it'd be like on my second floor in my college house, I'm not gonna not think my room is on the main level, and so was my roommate Rachel. You were gonna know if we were home. Like, I'd have to go upstairs if I wanted to know if my other two roommates were home, and I'd have to go downstairs if I wanted to know if they were home. Okay, like, what the fuck? And then we had a basement as like a fourth floor, so like, but to think that you're not going to know that right next to the bathroom if me or Rachel were home, that's impossible. You would have known if we were home. Like, my room light is not going to be on. My door is not going to be open. Like, what? Our doors are going to be shut and our lights are going to be off. And that's going to be that way if we're not home or even if we're sleeping. But we weren't notorious for being in our rooms and shutting our doors and just being silent on Saturday nights. That's not what we were doing.
Yeah, say we're talking about the 911 call when obviously I think Hunter Johnson is one of the people they're looking over, and they're not talking about the crazy amount of injuries and blood that is likely
Right.
in front of their eyes.
And Hunter John, and I know at one point Dylan says that she walks in or she follows him in, but again, we don't know where she was.
Mhm.
You know,
What?
him in, but Hunter John, and I know at one point Dylan says that she walks in or she follows him in, but again, we don't know where she was.
Mhm.
You know,
We don't. All right, I think there is another.
Okay, so then basically you're just taking everything that Dylan said and we're not going to believe any of it. So
Didn't ask that you think is an important point to bring up.
No, for me, I think we've talked about everything that I think was important to me.
Mhm.
For certain. No.
Well, I was just
Sam, do you see any?
is there any question we didn't ask that you think is an important?
It was No, I don't know. There's a lot.
Crime scene details like the hair and
Tried to find out whose it was. Again,
accidentally be labeled as debris.
well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the officer that did it. I don't know if that's common for them to label things in a hand as debris. But let's don't forget the other issue here is the blood that was stuck to the bed frame, which was a significant amount of blood. I'm seeing the hair, which that coagulated blood that stuck to the bed frame. So that wasn't even collected. Okay, they just hauled it away and left it. So had the hair been tested early on, in fact, I think as I look back at it again as an investigator, if I had that hair in the hand, I would have wanted that thing investigated thoroughly before I would have ever started talking about who the suspect was. Okay, because that hair is going to tell you, if you can identify it, it's going to tell you who did it.
And to your knowledge, that hair has not been tested to date?
No, it was not. It was tested against Brian Kohlberger's hair, and it was not a match, and that was it. It was not tested together.
And that to me is nuts, because in the beginning, you don't have a suspect for how long, and so how you're just totally discarding what's in Ethan's hands. Again, that goes to prove early on why you're labeling Detective Payne as the lead detective, because you want every possible, we're going to be doing all this stuff. He's never done it before. And we're going to get the good faith exception rule with all this shit that we're about to go and pull off. And that's disgusting.
My knowledge.
Sounds like someone who decided didn't match their suspect and they don't want to go any further. You don't have to comment on that.
Oh, no, you don't have a suspect yet. So initially, but you're saying that you did have a suspect? Like right off the rip?
Like someone who decided didn't match their suspect and they don't want to go any further. You don't have to comment on that.
Yeah. No, Ron, I agree. I think that's the key here.
Well, then that would mean that they knew who the suspect was from day one. And that even then goes to my point, which is these plainclothes officers knew exactly what happened that night. And and they wanted to make it seem like the killer was on foot. So let's go ahead and we're going to claim up this white car circling around. Okay. But everybody has handlers. Okay. Everybody has a handler. If Dylan was CI, which I was told back in the day that Dylan was CI in Boise, and that she was fickle about it, though, would come and go. And it was through the FBI, though. And so this could be another reason that, like, they never went and got Dylan or Bethany's phones to be downloaded again on the 16th or the 17th. And when people want to talk about, well, why would anybody protect, Dylan? You're protecting yourself. Okay. If the cops had, if you guys, they said not to use the radios in this case. They thought that the killer could potentially be what? That would tell me that like law enforcement or EMTs or come on, firemen. I mean, why aren't we using the radio? Why aren't we communicating? Why is this all hush hush?
Do you see that sometimes in law enforcement that they get so stuck on who the suspect is, that who they think
they want it to be,
or who they want it to be?
It's confirmation
Right.
bias. Yep, absolutely. That's what happens in most of your wrongful conviction cases. They become convinced this is who it is, and then they will start trying to construct everything to fit their theory of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
Because you start with the evidence and you go where the evidence takes you. You don't have a theory and then try and have self-fulfilling prophecy about your theory. Okay. So yeah, if you look at any wrongful convictions, that's usually what you're going to find.
I just think it's crazy when people want to say tunnel vision. You guys, then they would have had tunnel vision. The point of what I'm saying is that you have tunnel vision before the investigation ever begins by not going ham with that hair in Ethan's hand. Okay. No different than in Delphi when the hair that's in Abby's hand is never tested. And guess what? It's tested there at the end, and it's Abby's best friend Libby's sister Kelsey. Okay, so Molly,
The cops decided what happened.
Molly, you son of a bitch.
I had a case, very first case I did, wrongful conviction case, and they just absolutely ignored the fact that someone who should have been a suspect had a relationship. The dead guy and this guy had a relationship with the same girl. The guy lied.
I really don't want to hear that. Where I wanted to leave off and finish off today's episode here is, again, those of you guys, here is Dylan Mortenson's grand jury. Well, actually, hold on one second. Oh, here, hold on. This was a part that was taken out. Like anything that we try to listen to, I want to just go back and show you. This was from Dylan Morrison's interview on 12/30/2022. Dylan Morrison says, Detective Blake says, perfect. Dylan, as we previously stated, you do not have to answer our questions. You are not a suspect. If there's a question that makes you uncomfortable or you just don't feel comfortable with it, just let us know and we can bypass it. If you build comfort towards it later, we can address that. Okay. But you can tell us that you're done at any time. Okay, so right here, I'm going to show you guys something. This is some stuff that I don't believe that we got before. Dylan Mortensen. I had my mom. She says, I think my mom had talked about all the media stuff and then someone said something about how Jack Showalter been in the exact same media and that he's been so helpful and cooperative. And that made me think, oh, that was good that it wasn't him. So I was like, okay, well, shit, it's not him. Like, I don't know who else it could be. And I really thought it was someone from U of I, because it's like they knew where we lived, because for me to go up to Kaylee and Maddie's room, you have to go past my door. I don't know if I locked my door or not that night. I usually did when I wasn't drunk, but I was drunk that night, so I have no clue. So that's why I kind of just figured it would be someone at U of I that knew exactly where all of us lived in that room, in that house. Because obviously they never went down to Bethany's room ever. How does she know this? How does she know this? You guys, whatever. Her ever is like Bethany's room ever. Wow. From what I know. From what I know. She has to then qualify it. I mean, from what I know. So that kind of just like made me think, oh, it's probably someone from U of I. What? Why? But like we've been talking to our friends, like who could it be? And we couldn't think of anyone. And the only thought we had is Jack Showalter, because of like he lived next door to us. He was a hunter. Blah, blah, blah. Like just random stuff like that. He was at Grub Truck. But then we saw the video of Maddie and Kaylee and Jack just walking together. And we're like, oh, shit. Like, they were walking together. It wasn't like, that's what also kind of made me believe, like, it really wasn't him. So, no, I wouldn't have known at all who it was yesterday. Okay. Have you ever seen this Brian Kohlberger before? No. I remember when Robin called me, or I don't remember. Someone said, oh, in Pennsylvania. That was like, okay, I don't know anyone from Pennsylvania. I don't know anyone that has ties to Pennsylvania. Ties to Pennsylvania? Like, and so that like really weirded me out, which is like why like I feel like the people that we know, if they had family in Pennsylvania, like I would have known, what? So this like, it does shock me because it's like, it's a WSU student. Like they don't know them. Like they don't know them. So what was the point exactly? They don't know them. She's still on this them. It's supposed to be him. Like meaning like her people, like the people that were murdered don't know him. So what was the point exactly? Like for me, I would have thought it would be like some stalker that was obsessed with one of them or something. What? Okay, have you seen a picture of Mr. Kohlberger? Yeah, I looked him up today. That doesn't make any sense because if it's on the media, like, why do you have to look him up? When I found out. What do you mean you found out? What do you mean you looked him up? So that was mean you just were given the name and not a picture. Did you? Yeah. So I'm not sure what picture you've seen of him. I've seen the mugshot one with the vest thing, I think. You think? You don't know? Okay. Miss McPherson. It's on there now. Yeah, it's all over the internet. Okay, wow. Yeah. Lake says, I'm going to try to word this carefully, but is this Brian Kohlberger the person that you saw in this mugshot? Is that the person you saw in your house? I have no clue. From what I remember, I just remember seeing this figure that was like not fat, obviously, but more of like the skinnier tone build and some mask on. I don't know what the mask exactly was, but when I thought about it, it was just like covering here and here. I don't know if it was covering his mouth, his nose, or below his mouth and nose. I just remember knowing that he was white, but I didn't know how he was white. I just knew he was. And this knowing there's like, I knew he looked at me because of the bushy eyebrow. That's all I remember. I like for therapy, I'm going to a therapist and I asked her to help me, like go tell me, like remember stuff, but nothing could come up, which was really weird. The only thing that helped come up was like hearing Kaylee's footsteps, but not hearing another pair of footsteps. That really freaked me out because obviously I'm right next to there. And so I was like, okay, well, why didn't I hear his footsteps or like another pair of footsteps? But I have no idea what he looked like. I don't like when I looked at his picture, nothing came back to me at all. So that like, I don't know. I feel like if I saw that, my mind would be like, oh yeah, that's him. But I don't remember at all. Okay. So Bethany's interview. Yeah. When you had gone down to the room and stuff that night, Bethany said you had described that he had a big nose. Do you remember saying that? No, I don't remember that at all. And I know like when the police came to my house to do an interview, what? Which one? I was looking through my text to have like proof of stuff. And Bethany had said, Xana wearing all black. This is where she goes with it. She like wants to throw Bethany under the bus. I don't remember her texting me that at all. I don't remember our conversation. She doesn't remember her texting her that at all. Are you trying to say that one person was making all these texts, Dylan? All I remember was something about a firework or fire. So I thought someone had thrown fireworks in our house or something. What? But I don't remember big. Now she's saying all I remember was something about a firework or fire. So I thought someone had thrown fireworks in our house or something, but I don't remember big nose at all, like at all. That's like, all I remember is like some bushy eyebrow or all black and all black and some sort of mask, but it wasn't like one of those circle ski masks. That's all I remember. And this thing he held, but I kept calling it a mini vacuum, which I don't really know why. Doesn't make sense at all. I just remember calling it a mini vacuum. And then I remember when I went downstairs to Bethany's room, I don't remember what we talked about at all. I just remember like laying in bed and looking out the window and seeing a truck. What I thought was a truck. I don't remember the color. I don't remember like it was like a decent sized truck. But I remember saying, like, it could have just been like the neighbors. Because I could hear trucks going by all the time, you know. But I don't remember what we talked about. I don't remember what I called her about. Yeah, so I have no clue. I don't remember what I called her about yet, 419. Because you never did call her. She called you. How do you feel about Mr. Culver being arrested by our team? Obviously, for me right now, like I'm very like numb. I don't feel a lot. What? I don't feel a lot. But it was like a gut drop in a way because it was like, okay, like finally. But like now this is like it's real now, Dylan. What? She's talking to herself in third person? Like I've had like since this all has happened, I would break down where like so when I kind of try to explain it from my therapist is like there's like this glass wall. The whole situation's in front of the glass wall and I'm behind the glass wall. So I don't feel it. Like I know it's there, but I don't realize how big of a situation this is. There's only been one time that I was like in front of the glass wall and it hit me all at once for like 15 or 30 minutes. And that was like the worst thing ever. And then today when we found out his arrested, I think it was like 5 a.m. ish. What? Somewhere around that time. Like I was happy. But and that's it. Now that was Tollison's. Now there's another one that a girl named Erin did this. This is the one that was like Erin Williamson. And this is the one that nobody has. So you can only get this in these like, here we go. This was on Aaron Williamson, Dylan Mortensen. Page 3. Yeah. There's a ton of, we always go to, oh, okay, so you can take a seat on that sofa. And is that the one? It's in Boise off of Broadway. Okay, all right. I go down, that blanket goes right with it. So it's like, it gets really cold in here. So we have the space heater going. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I go down to Boise quite a bit for work. So, all right, you said it's on Broadway. Yeah, I'm going to go check it out later. Okay, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, it's a really nice dealer. Yeah, it's always like there's something very exciting when you find a good buy. Oh my God, Dylan got a car. Okay, all right. Ever lived anywhere else? I lived in Utah, like Salt Lake-ish, until I was like 6, and then we moved to Boise. Okay, so it's been pretty much, yeah, the biggest chunk. Okay, yeah, okay, Boise is a good spot. I like it, yeah. I was surprised how much I liked it the first time I went out. Okay, yeah. So I know you spoke with Vicky a few weeks ago, okay? Vicky Gooch. I mean, is this something that you guys even want to hear? This is the one that we've never heard before. Okay. So anything that kind of comes up, again, this is like December 1st. Aaron says, okay, so anything since then that has kind of come up for you, things that you didn't get a chance to talk about then that you want to get a chance to talk about now? I guess the biggest thing was like that night I kept having dreams of someone just dressed in black. What? Like there was a dream that there was this woman who was just like pranking people. Oh my God, what the fuck? This is going to be wild. So saddle up, guys. This is going to be wild. Okay, we've never saw this before. This is going to be crazy. All right, I'm going to try to push through with my voice. It's getting like horribly raspy. A woman who was just like pranking people. And she'd go to the houses and wear black. And it was like some joke. And then I met her and she's super nice. And then I was talking to my therapist about this. I didn't remember if this was like, because I've always had really bad dreams. Like I've watched Criminal Minds. I lucid dreams a lot. So I have like scary lucid dreams, but I know I'm dreaming. So it's like, it doesn't really matter. But sometimes I don't have lucid dreams. But I don't think it was one of the dreams. But it was like the figure and like all black and like the kind of mask, because again, I don't know exactly what kind of mask it was, but it was like he was running, but with high knees. Like almost prancing around. What? Like almost prancing around. which was kind of weird. And I kept getting that mixed up if that was like real or if that was like a dream. That's how a lot of it is. It's like, I don't know exactly what parts are real and what parts are a dream. Okay. Because everything's kind of like jumbled, I would say. Okay. And you were talking about the dream with that woman? No. She like that there was like the woman dream. She's one of the dreams. Yep. And there's another one I couldn't remember if that like he maybe was running or if he was walking or if that was the dream of him just like running. Okay. It was just kind of like prancing running. It was like really high knees. It was just like an awkward run, I would say. And that was what you weren't sure if it was true. Yeah. Or if it was a dream. And the woman one, I knew was a dream. I could tell that one was. The second one, I didn't know. Okay, tell me about how you could tell the first one was the one with the woman was definitely a dream. I don't. So usually when I'm my dreams, because I lucid dream. What? I can control my dreams. What? I'm sorry, hold on. I can control my dreams. This is crazy. Oh man. I can control it. Usually it just is like, oh, like I know I'm dreaming. Like I 100% know. And then it's like I can control what's happening. And for some reason, when I woke up and remember that dream, I just like I immediately knew it was a dream because it wasn't like certain people around me that I knew. That's how. What? Certain people around me that I knew. That's how. That's how I just know. It's like I can't see their face clearly and I know it's not like real. Okay. So that's how I knew. And then in the second one, there wasn't other people around. Like it was when I was in my room and it was opening the door that he was like running. Okay. But I didn't know if he was going like if it was exactly in the house or not. It was just weird. She woke up outside of her house. Yeah. And I couldn't like fully understand when I woke up that like was a dream or not. And I guess like when I woke up that morning, everything was like what the fuck happened? Woke up that morning. What part of the morning? Yeah. And like when I called my friends again, it wasn't like I wasn't worried about any of my friends because we were home like and I saw Maddie's. And I saw Maddie's because I have Maddie's Find My iPhone. And I saw she was at home. So I was like, okay, like we're at home. We're safe, you know, like you always feel safe in your house. What? And like when I called my friend, it was because I thought someone was in the house. But I didn't know if they were there or not. So I wanted them to come check with us. But it was like, that's why I didn't know. Like, and then like we find out later, like what happened. And we were just like, what the fuck? Like, we didn't even think that. So she calls, this doesn't make any sense. When I called my friend, it was because I thought someone was in the house. Nope. That doesn't make any sense. She just says, okay. Imagining happening. It was just weird. Yeah. Yeah. Shit. It was just weird shit, I guess. Yeah. So I want a couple things. One, I forgot to mention, I've got some chats and some pictures that we may look at. See if this helps. Can help me out with. Then I'll let you know when we get there. I just like to let you know that from the beginning. Okay. But so Aaron says, but so you're talking a little bit about kind of like when you woke up and calling your friends? Yeah. Okay. I want you to go back to the beginning, like Saturday day. Yeah. When the night started. No, go back to Saturday day and just kind of walk me through everything that you remember happening that day. So obviously the day before is Friday. That was formal. And we had like small, not a big party. It was all Pies and their dates. I can't remember exactly, maybe like 30 people, maybe more or less, but it was pretty small. And like, obviously we were all drinking a lot. Like, I don't remember a lot of that night because I had been drinking too much. Saturday was the last Vandal home game day. And so we were like, we all got to hang out. It's the last Vandal home game. We got to hang out. Because it's like Kaylee was leaving. Maddie was leaving for like next year. They wouldn't be here for another game day. Oh my God. Their last hurrah. Oh my God. Okay. We woke up. I think I forgot to tell the cops this, but we started drinking champagne. I don't know if I told them that or not. Okay. But like, it was like champagne mimosas. We had started drinking a little bit, and then we were at my friend, then we were at my house with a few people. Like, our close friends were there. And then we went over to the White's apartment, which is that big white apartment building right in front of our house. It was one of the AV's apartment. Kaylee was an AV, and Bethany knew some of the AVs, so we were invited to go over there. So we all went and took pictures. That's the picture that's circulating around everywhere. I probably had like 2-3 drinks, I would say at most. They're like seltzer White Claws, those ones. We hung out there for a little while. I don't know how long we were there. I felt like we came back home like around 5, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe later. I can't exactly remember. I think it was after the second time that I heard, from what I thought I heard, was I could hear someone crying, and I, for some reason, believed it was Kaylee. Oh, so that's where okay, sorry. Now she goes, so that's just one example. Now she skips over here to page 32 and she's like, okay, so this is, she just doesn't put the rest in there, even though I would have loved to see that. I think it was after the second time that I heard, from what I thought I heard, was I could hear someone crying. And I, for some reason, believed it was Kaylee. I don't really know why, but I just, at that moment, I was like, that's Kaylee. But it wasn't. But it wasn't like this scared or for help cry. It was just kind of like sobbing, like normal girls do when they're just like stressed out about something. What? It just seemed like that. Then I heard this man's voice, and it wasn't Ethan's. It was like, it's okay, I'm going to help you. He said, no, it's okay, I'm going to help you. But it wasn't like this, like, oh, I'm going to help you, like, you're going to be fine. Like, it was just like this eerie voice. And I was like, Dylan, like what? I didn't understand what I was hearing, you know? It's just like, it didn't make sense. And then I shut the door and I locked it. I guess another thing I should have said before is when I heard Kaylee go upstairs, I think Murphy was barking, but not like a ton. Uh-huh. And then the main thing I remember was like just hearing Murphy's bark, like distant. Now, we go to page 33. That's why I thought he had gotten out of the house. Wait. Oh, that's why I thought he had gotten out of the house, because his bark was distant. That's why. So that's why I thought he had gotten out of the house. So that's when the dog would be lost. That's where Bethany's trying to say, you know, you're jamming up two things. Okay. But then again, I don't know for sure. So then back to the bathroom scene. She calls it a scene. Oh my God. Wait, what's going on here? Oh my God. Back to the bathroom scene. Oh my God. I want to give a shout out to Katie. Thank you so much. Love from Wales. Missy gifted 5 Truth and Transparency memberships. Donna, Lana, I would just like to say you're super nice for helping us understand this case. I trust you the most. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate that. Dude, I cannot believe she's saying now back to the bathroom scene. Oh my God. Is that weird, or am I just like in space by... Oh my God, dude, that just gave me, you guys, I'm sorry. I was just going to keep reading. Lana, Lana, Bobana, Fanana, Fana, Fofana, me, my, Momana, Lana. What scene? We're going to go back to the bathroom scene. Holy shit, she's living her real life movie. This is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. What the fuck is going on here, Dylan? And Aaron's just sitting there like, scene. Look at this. Now back to the bathroom scene. I thought they were in the bathroom. I don't know why. I just could tell that it wasn't in the living room because I would have heard it better. I know I was lurking. I just like immediately, like my mind was like bathroom, Kaylee, some man. Sorry, hold on. Aaron just says, okay. Dylan says, so then I lock the door again. I don't know if I called or texted Bethany about that, but I knew like no one was answering. I don't know how long a period I kept opening, like how long I opened the door and how long I had the door shut. But I opened it again. And I just remember seeing like all black figure about my height, maybe a few inches taller. And he wasn't like very muscular or very big. He was more like skinny build, but like, you know how basketball players are more like tone, like they have muscle, but they're like more skinny. That kind of build. But it wasn't like I could fully see him. It was just like this figure. I just remember this mask, and I remember like I didn't see his eyes, but I saw like, I don't remember if it was just like one eyebrow or two, but it was just like this bushy eyebrow. And I don't know how I know, but I just knew he was white. Like, I don't know where it's like how in my mind, it's just like he was white, but I was just like, knew that. And the mask at the time, I believed it was just covering his I think it was like his chin, his mouth, and just his forehead, which I know it doesn't really make sense. Like, why would you have a mask like that? But I think it was just his chin. Maybe it was his mouth, like a mask like this almost, or maybe it was like on his chin. But it just wasn't like it wasn't like I fully knew he was there, but like I just guessed I wasn't like comprehending anything. So that's why I thought it was, so that's why I'm kind of getting confused if it was like real or if it was like a dream, because it wasn't like, oh, I know he's there, but it wasn't like I knew it was a dream. So it was just really, really it was just really, really weird. It was weird. And I just remember seeing like, I don't remember if he was walking or if he was running, but I just like remember this like figure that looks like a male in all black. And this just like some sort of like mask, like a ski mask, like those ski masks, but I don't remember exactly. Like it was just like the ones that had the circles because it was like this, but it was almost like more of like his face. I don't fully remember. And I just remember him like coming from the living room. I'm sure I'm going to, obviously, because he was going towards the kitchen. And I just figured he had gone out the side door. Oh, he's coming from the living room. Boom. I'm just, And then I was like, I just slammed the door. Boom. And locked it. And I was like, I remember texting Bethany and I looked at these texts that morning. And I looked at these texts that morning. I woke up. Oh my God. And I was like, I was not texting them right because I just like, what? Wait. I looked at them in the morning. I woke up and I was like, I was not texting them right because I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm so confused. And I wasn't worried. I was just like, why the fuck is there someone in our house? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I remember texting Bethany and I was like, there's a guy in all black. And Bethany had gone, Xana was wearing all black. And I think that's what made my mind think everything was fine. I also had text my boyfriend. What? Wait, where is, oh my God, wait, this is a first. Oh my God, what the fuck is Oh my God, you guys, this is new. Phantom, been a member for 9 months, baby. Woo! Gifted 5 Truth and Transparency memberships. Soother 75 said, I'm afraid Tina can't help us out. What? Oh, Stacy, member for 27 months, 3 babies. Hell yeah, what's going on? You guys, oh my God, we're hearing from the first time. She texted her boyfriend? Wait, what? Let's hear this. I also had texted my boyfriend. I don't remember exactly what time. And I was like, there's someone in our house. What? And Kaylee said someone was here and someone was crying in the bathroom, but I don't understand what's going on. And he was like, well, you guys have a party house. Could it just be like someone had just been drunk walking through? And people probably there's probably a few people that didn't know our house code because the girls before us had the same house code that we do now. And we've told our close friends, then stuff gets passed around. Wait, what time did she text Quinn? Wait. So when he told me that, so this would have been in the morning. Because then, so when he told me that, so when he told me that, I was just not worried at all. I'm just okay, obviously just kind of freaked out. Obviously I would be freaked out if anyone was in our house, but I wasn't worried. I wasn't freaking out. And I was texting Bethany. I was like, I'm scared to run down the stairs because I have to go out of my room. I'd rather just stay in my room. But she's like, we'll be together. Like, I think you should come downstairs, something along those lines. So it's like I guess this would have been the fourth time I opened my door. I don't think, oh my God. So she's trying to say that she talked to Quinn. You guys, Ann Taylor is saying that that's a lie. There is no messages with Quinn. She would have put that in there. What is she talking about? Where are these Quinn messages? Oh my God. What are we seeing? What is unraveling in front of us? Again, throwing BF under the bus. Bethany Funk. Oh, wow. This is getting hot and heavy here. It's getting right into soap hour too. 12 o'clock. Right after, what is it? Is it Days of Our Lives that kick off right now? These the days of our lives. Okay. Yeah. I sprinted out to my what? She's about to say something. She messes up. I sprinted out of my room to the living room. My room's like right here. You go out, there's like the kitchen right here, living room over here. There's like this wall in the living room. Go to the living room, and it's like a pretty big space. In the living room to Xana's room, there's like a pretty long hallway. Get the fuck out of here in a long hallway. Mess. Lies. A pretty long hallway. Qualifying. That's qualifying her BS. And I'm like, where my couch is at. So I'm pretty far back. And I just see her laying there with like no pants on, which is normal for her, like with underwear. So like she was just comfortable like that. And I was just like, okay, well, she's with Ethan. She's with Ethan. Oh my God, this is all justification. Oh my sick word. Like she had been drinking a lot. You weren't with Xana. Xana wasn't drinking a lot. Like she had been drinking a lot, so she probably just passed out. And I wasn't worried. And I remember just like, it was just like I could see her legs and the top of her head. Like I couldn't like see fully anything. And so I was just very out of it. Like, I don't remember seeing anything weird. Like, I was like, she looks totally fine. She looks totally fine. Ethan's probably right there because they're always together. And Ethan slept at our house, like in Xana's room all the time. So like we loved having him there because we felt like more protected. Like there's a guy who's 6'3" here, like, you know? So I was like, okay, like everything's fine. Like she's good, you know, but I was still sprinting. Like I sprinted downstairs. I was still kind of freaked out, but then like, I wasn't worried about Xana. Like nothing was like, oh, I should go check on her. That was not in my mind at all. I remember the cops kept asking me where the lights on. I don't know. I mean, I could see her, but then also we had these twinkle lights that were usually always on in the living room. So like maybe those were lit up. Okay. And I don't know if the bathroom light was on. They kept asking me like, was the kitchen light on? Were these lights on? I was like, honestly, I just don't know. Like I saw her, maybe her light was on, maybe it wasn't. So I ran downstairs. Bethany like opened the door and locked it. And we talked for a little bit. I don't know what exactly we talked about. But we weren't like freaked out. We were just like, okay, this is weird. Someone's in here, but we should just try and go to bed. We locked the door. Oh, first it was she locked the door. Now we locked the door. Wow. We just had fallen asleep. And then I just kept like those dreams I told you about that were just like weird and didn't make sense. I don't remember when I woke up, but I remember like I texted Maddie and Keely and I was like, hey, are you guys up? And I wasn't like worried about them. I was just scared that maybe someone was in the house, but I wasn't worried. Like I was like, okay, like I'm kind of freaked out. Like, was that real or not? And like when I woke up, I was like, I was going through Beth and mine and Bethany's texts to make sure I wasn't like just imagining this stuff. Oh my God, she was going through her and Bethany's texts while Bethany's sleeping. Oh my God. While Bethany's sleeping. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We need Dr. Katie Spirko on this. This is crazy. This is crazy. And I texted her and I was like, wait, what? And I texted her and I was like, okay, this is weird. Like I text you about this. I called a few of them that morning. No, you didn't. I don't remember how late, like if like, I think it was like 9 or 10ish, somewhere around there that time. They weren't answering. And that's when I was like, okay, this is weird. But Maddie's location's at home. So like they're all home. And like I saw Xana, she's at home. What? Like, oh, she means like she saw her. And I kept checking Xana and Ethan's Snapchat map. And then that's when it stops on 39. And then it goes to page 79. And she says, oh my God, like someone is here without the, oh my gosh, she just said someone's here. Okay. And that's when I got up and locked the door because I was like, I'm not like, that shit freaks me out. Like thinking like someone could be here, but I wasn't like, I just remember locking my door, looking at my door handle. What? And like before all of this, like obviously when she said someone's here, I just hear her like footsteps going really fast and it just stopped. That tells me that somebody was running down the stairs. What do you mean? And it just stopped. Yeah, because they already had left. You got the phone call, and this is what you heard after Bethany called you. But actually, it's all crap. These are only 2 possibilities. And I don't remember hearing anything else. Like, I don't remember hearing anyone come downstairs. That was the kind of, like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, the past little bit, just, like, thinking, like, how would I have not heard someone walking downstairs? What? What do you mean walking downstairs? That doesn't really make sense. You did. Like, which is, that just kind of weirds me out. I don't remember him coming, like whoever that was, coming downstairs at all. And there was never like screaming or like help me. Oh my God. There's none of that ever, ever, ever. Oh my gosh. And then she says, and like maybe there was, but my mind blocked it out. But from what I remember, there was none of that. Which is like kind of weirding me out. Like that I remember me, like that I remember me and Bethany were talking. Like we never heard any of that. So it's like, why didn't we hear any of that? Like that just kind of weirds me out. I feel like people would be screaming, you know, like, but we never heard any of that. Okay. And so I know you said that you heard like the footsteps kind of going fast. Yeah. And then what was the very next thing that you heard? It just stopped. It was silent right there. That's somebody leaving. That's somebody leaving. So when they want to talk about that Ethan is killed at 4:17, no, sorry. Okay. It was silent. I don't know how long after it was that I opened the door. Like I could look up the stairs and the stairs were dark. So the light was not on the stairs. Uh-huh. But your bedroom light was on because you know when the cops got there, her light was on. Dylan's bedroom light's on. I think the kitchen light was on just because I could see the kitchen. And tell me everything that you remember seeing at that point. I'm pretty sure the pong table was there because I could see the red Solo cups on the I'm trying to think if it for sure what was there. Ooh, she stops her pong talk. I'm like trying to think now when I took Murphy out, if it fully was there or not. What? It's just something like, I can't remember like fully if it was like, that's okay. It's just not coming to me for that. I just remember like I could see like when you look into our kitchen, there's like this little pantry door. I could see our fridge. I could see like all the dishes on the sink because we have, or like on the table. And I looked up. You can't see the table from your room. Dude, who gave her these pictures? Oh my God. The media. Oh my God, the media reports. This is 12/1/2022, this interview. I could see like all the dishes on the sink because we have, or like on the table. And I looked up. I didn't see anything up the stairs. It was just dark. None of this could be seen. This is not a vantage point. I looked to the living room. I could see the bar cart. So, I mean, she would have to be outside the door. And I could see like the wall. Like there's like so like you look out my room. Here's the living room over here. The bar cart's on the back wall. Uh-huh. Over here is where the stairs are. But then there's like this wall that goes up kind of. So I could see that wall. Oh my God. And that was about it. She does not mention the table. Oh my God. Oh my God. The table was outside and they moved it inside. Because they play Pong outside. Oh my God, she doesn't see the fucking table. Oh man. Oh man. And there you have it, Dilly Poo. Dilly Poo Poo forgot about the table in her biggest lie. Oh shit. Oh shit. The entire stage was cleaned after it was the entire scene was staged after it was cleaned. This yeah, but there's blood on it. I mean, she really is dumb. You guys, this is crazy. Oh, snappy poo. Like I couldn't really see fully into the living room, and I don't know if the Pong table was in there or if it was in the kitchen. Oh my Oh my God. What? I can't remember. I can't remember at all. Holy shitballs. That's interesting. Dylan doesn't have any memory. Uh-huh. And then I just closed and locked my door. Tell me how you were feeling at that point. I was just kind of freaked out because I mean, I wasn't like I was freaked out, but I wasn't like worried. Like I was just like the thought of someone being in the house just freaks me out, but I wasn't like freaking out. Oh shit. Like I wasn't like, oh, I need to call 911. Oh no. Oh shit. Like I wasn't like, oh, I need to call 911 at all. I was just like, we're just going to wait it out. Oh my God. Wait, what out? Holy shit. Like he'll be fine. Like he'll go, like it will like here, we'll leave, you know, like we'll leave. Wait, what? We'll leave, you know? Oh my God, she left. Yes, yes. Like he'll be fine. Like he'll go. Like it will. Like it will. Like here, we'll leave, you know? Oh my God, she left like we said. Oh my God, what is happening here? Oh shit. Oh man, like we're gonna leave. It's fine. It's just nothing. I don't know, guys. Aaron says, tell me what you were thinking, because I know you've said a little bit of like a few times that you were freaked out but not worried. Yeah. And like tell me what you kind of like just like in your mind, stressed. She says, just like stressed. She was stressed. What was going on? How would you be stressed? There's such a difference. All right, then she this is now page 92, so 10 pages go by. Just heard it and I just went blank, like nothing else happened. And like in between seeing like I saw the person when I opened the door, like looking at the stairs and like looking at the living room. Wait, what? And like in between seeing I saw the person when I opened the door, like looking at the stairs. She was looking at the stairs and like looking at the living room. Shutting my door is like, I don't, like, besides like looking at my door, I don't remember anything else. Like I just blocked, like everything is just like, I don't know what happened between those times. Okay. And like when I heard the sobbing and the voice, I don't remember seeing anything. I don't know when I closed my door, locked it. I don't remember like anything else I heard. I don't remember like it's just like that time is just gone. This is called primal fear. Okay, yeah. And I remember opening the door again. I didn't hear anything. Oh my gosh. It was like silent. Okay. And I just saw the figure walking by, but there was no sound. I don't remember any footsteps, which is kind of weird. Like usually if you saw somebody walking by, you'd hear footsteps. It's because you didn't see any of this. I didn't hear any of that. And was that before you heard the voice or after? Or so when I saw the figure, that was the third time. So it was after I heard the voice. She has to recollect from her story. You see that? It's called lying your ass off. Realizing what the hell she did, in my opinion. You guys, whenever you have to do this, when somebody asks you a question, and then this is how you have to tell yourself the answer. So the question was, and was that before you heard the voice or after? Or Dylan says, so when I saw the figure, that was the third time. So it was after I heard the voice. That is how she has to remember that answer. This is absolutely fucking crazy. Aaron then says, okay. Dylan says, that was the third time I had opened my door. Okay. And look at Dylan, it's just like they're letting her say all of this shit. And I had to open my door very open. Wait, what? Oh my God. And for some reason, this is how the footprint gets there. Oh my God, you guys, this is exactly what I was saying an hour or two ago when I said, you guys, you'd have to open that door so wide to be able to get that print. And that print is coming into her room or leaving her room. She's the footprint. It's her footprint. Right here is the proof. This is not the grand jury. This is an interview that nobody has heard on December 1st, 2022 with Aaron Williamson. And I think Aaron Williamson is with the feds. And that would mean that she has shoes on. She couldn't have been sleeping. You don't sleep with shoes on. And I had to open my door very, very open. You know what she said in the last one? She said that she peeked. And for some reason, I don't. This is like where that dream comes in of like the running. I don't remember if I had thought. She's the runner. She's the high knees running around, prancing like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She's the prancer. She's flinging stuff everywhere. High knees, you guys, high knees. Somebody's flying all the stuff all over the room. She's in a pure panic. It's her. This is like where that dream comes in of like the running. I don't remember if I had thought, I don't remember if at that point, that's when I thought it was a fireman or not. I don't know why I thought fireman. Okay. But I remember saying, no, no, no. And just slamming the door and locking it. What? And then Aaron says, and that's something that you remember actually happening, not in the dream. Yeah, that's what I remember actually happening. Okay. That wasn't in the dream, but I like the dream keeps mixing it up if I thought it was a dream. Oh, the dream keeps mixing it up if it was a fireman or not? What? Like, I can't remember if I thought that the guy was a fireman, but he was wearing all black. And I was like, okay, that makes no sense. Is he a fireman? And when Bethany had like text or called about the fire, I was like, oh shit, there's a fire? We need to get out. We need to get out. Like, that didn't worry me. What the fuck? Jeez. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. Oh shit. I think when I saw the guy, I was like, oh, he's going to help us, which is kind of weird. Like, that's why I wasn't like too worried. What? Now she's just making this stuff up. She never thought he was gonna help. But like, it was like, why would somebody be here? Like, my mind was just like not making any sense. Like, everything was just like scrambled, like not understanding anything. And I want to go back a little bit just to make sure I got it right. When you mentioned like yelling people's names, yeah. What did you hear after you said their names? I don't think I even heard anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember hearing anything at all. I'm like trying to think. It was just like blank. Aaron says, and were you yelling their names before you heard the crying? I have no idea. That's just like, don't know if it was before or after. Yeah, because it's just, so you remember calling out their names. Yeah, it was just Kaylee's and Xana's though. I don't know why I was just calling out their names. So you just remember calling out Kaylee and Xana. Yeah. Okay, tell me about that. I thought it was Kaylee in the bathroom, but I was worried about what was she? But I was worried about. She was worried about somebody. I was just thinking like she cut herself off. She was worried about somebody, but I was worried about Xana. Thinking like, what if it, like, I believe it was Kaylee at the time, but I also knew Xana's room was over there. So I was calling. I think when I was like trying to wake up Xana, like from my room, like have her get up so she could like understand what was going on, because I didn't understand. And then again, I don't know for sure. Like, I don't know what my mind, oh my God, she did. She tried to wake up Xana. Oh my God, there it is. These people are nuts. How is this not out? Oh my God. She went in her room and she tried to wake her up. She's on the ground. Oh my God, 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 oh my God. This is crazy. Oh my God. Like, I have to read this to you guys again. She was about to say, and then she had to stop herself. She was about to say, but I was worried about Xana. Okay, but she didn't. She cut herself off because she knew that she was going, but I was worried about I was just thinking, like, what if it, like, I believed it was Kaylee at the time, but I also knew Xana's room was over there. So I was calling, I think when I was like trying to wake up Xana, like from my room, like have her get up so she could like understand what was going on, because I didn't understand. And then again, I don't know for sure. Like, I don't know what my mind was thinking. Like, and this is where she would have been like, wait, waking her up how? Did you go to her room? Do you understand, Aaron? You suck. Aaron sucks. But at least the one thing that she did is she just let her speak. And so we have all of this. Just so you guys know, like, the G's, like, they've never seen any of this. This is, if they're watching right now, if they ever watch this, they're going to be like, wait, what? They've never seen this. Nobody's ever seen this. This is new. Nobody has ever seen this stuff. Why? Dylan says, why did I call out Xana as well? Like, why did I do that? Okay. Aaron says, okay, then when you heard that guy's voice, where did it sound like that was coming from? Dylan says, the bathroom. It sounded like it was in the bathroom. So it sounded like both the crying and the voice were coming from, yeah, the bathroom, she says. And tell me, I know you kind of explained a little bit before of what you remember the person looking like. You said the mask looks like it was like ribbed. Yeah. Was there like, did it cover, when you're talking about like a ski mask, is that like covering the whole head? Or yeah, I couldn't see any of his hair. Okay. Again, she's just adamant that it's a boy. I couldn't see any of his hair. Okay. But I remember just like seeing like it was like almost rectangular. Oh my God, it's like Squid Games. Like not like the circle ones. It was like rectangular, because I remember seeing like, just like, I don't know how to explain. It just seemed like this and see like across, but I don't remember seeing his eyes, but I feel like his eyes were there. I could just see like an eyebrow. I felt like that's how I knew he saw me, because I could see his eyebrow. Like if I can see his eyebrow, he can see me. Okay, says Aaron. Dylan says, and like, I don't know why. I really believe he like did make eye contact with me, but I don't know why I believe that. Okay, tell me what you remember about, and we'll pick up right here on the next one. Oh God, all my nighttime people, I got to hang out with you guys tonight. We will pick right up from here. And then we will go into the grand jury stuff. This is nuts. This is seriously crazy. Again, this is all new. These are new breaking documents. So come back and join me. I know we'll kick things off at 9 p.m. Eastern Standards. That'd be like 6 West Coast time. So I gotta reset my voice. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. Let's see. Stacy, again, WTF, member for 27 months. I feel you, Stace. We have the cat lover. Gotta run. Have a great day, Lana Lane. Thanks for breaking this one down. You guys are welcome. We're putting together the master timeline. I'm super stoked to get these. I'm super, super stoked to get these documents from these super nice people in Moscow. Hoffy Master says hello to everybody. Thank you, Hoffy Master. Black Cat and Jam. Karen, our girl, turning 10 people green there at the end. I love it. Karen said, fuck this. I'm turning 30 people green. Oh my God, Karen, you are fucking the shit. Karen, shake my cowbell for you. Shannon, she's a new member. Thank you so much. Shannon, welcome. Wild Bill says, Lana, off topic. Did BK trust AT or parents more? I don't know. Maybe both equally. You know, I mean, this is wild. This is some wild shit we're discovering, right? But I think Chris Holland peer reviewing without the materials just as wild. So you suck. The first thing I heard when I popped on your channel. Yeah, everybody sucks. Bill Thompson, you fucking suck. I know that all of these investigators, anybody that has questioned these people, anybody that was involved in this, if you guys can seriously walk around with your heads like, yeah, please, peace out. We'll be back here at 9:00 tonight. Join me. This is crazy. And we may even have more documents too, but yeah. See you on the next one. By the way, Brian Colbert was just flying around the house. No footsteps. Dylan didn't hear any footsteps. They didn't hear any screaming. Nobody was asking for help. Nobody was yelling out. It was just an out-of-body experience is what you're telling me. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your afternoon.